the people voice to the leader's seat. She connect the dots, make sense of it. If you want knowledge, tune in early. If you want clarity, don't come late. The morning facts with Cindy Rose on how the country running. We break it down. A chance undone in Countdown 2. Electrifying facts from me and you. Economy, health, education. Youth, them future, the whole foundation. Culture, law, accountability. She hold the line for transparency. Not just talk, context and insight. So you can reason and get it right. Morning boost for your mind and soul. Information is power. Take control. Grab your bush tea. Clear your head. Start your day. Properly fed. Who got the facts? Who got the facts? Cindy. Who asks the hard questions? Who keep it real every morning? Cindy. Daily talk show. Daily talk show. Covering the issues. It drops an empire. Electrifying. Powerful morning boost. The morning facts with Cindy Rose, and from sunrise talk to national plan. Facts in the morning so we understand. Strong mind, strong people, stronger land. The morning facts with Cindy Rose, and from sunrise talk to national plan. Facts in the morning so we understand. Strong mind, strong people, stronger land. Before you step out, before you decide, get the facts in the morning and walk with pride. The morning facts with Cindy Rosen. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine, nation. Grab your bush tea. Cindy Rosen in the building. Let's break it down. The morning facts with Cindy Rosen. How the country running, we break it down. Facts in the morning, no gimmicks, no spin. Educate, empower, let the day begin. Sunrise busting over hills and sea. Radio on, tune in frequency. From policy talk to community news. She asks the questions, bring real truth. No long talk, straight to the point. Facts so clean, they anoint. From the people voice to the leader's seat. She connect the dots, make sense of it. If you want knowledge, tune in early. If you want clarity, don't come late. The morning facts with Cindy Rose on how the country running. We break it down. A chance undone in Countdown 2. Electrifying facts from me and you. Economy, health, education. Youth, them future, the whole foundation. Culture, law, accountability. She hold the line for transparency. Not just talk, context and insight. So you can reason and get it right. Morning boost for your mind and soul. Information is power.
Good morning. I was on time. Good morning. So by Monday, if anybody can sing the full song for me, send us a video. We're gonna have a special gift for you. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but if you know the song by Monday, do a video, send it, or you can call in and sing it by Monday, and we will have a special gift for you. So I was on time, but we're learning this song. We're getting into the groove of this song. So some persons have been asking me about this song. I have on black today. It's a dress. So I have to hide my tummy a bit. Anyway, checking the AC. It's a little hot. Maybe I'm getting older as tomorrow is my birthday. Whew. Getting up in that kind of age. So the song, The Morning Facts. My friend Brad Burke. I always say Berkeley. I don't know why I call him Brad Berkeley, but my friend Brad Burke He's really good at putting this type of music together. He's done other songs for other radio shows around the Caribbean. So some of the radio shows that you're tuning into and the music that you're hearing, like he has done music for quite a few of the radio shows around the Caribbean. So I reached out to him. He's always doing songs for me, and he'd send them over to me. He'd be like, do you like this? Do you like this? So I reached out to him. I'm like, can you do a song for the morning show? And the next day he sent it over to me. So this was done, produced, the words, well, I shared with him a description, what I'd like to hear, etc., etc. He put it all together, and that's where the Morning Facts came from. So it was produced right here by someone locally. Whatever mechanics he used, all I know is that it didn't cost me $3,000 for artists and studio time and support. Not that I'm saying that, you know, you should use the artists, etc. We should, but sometimes you don't have the budget for that big thing, and so there are other options. I'll just leave it at that. So good morning, Vanessa. Thank you for tuning in. So of course, I'm always going to have my phone in my hand, and I'm going to go over to my Facebook page. It's easier for me to see from here, although I could see some. Yeah, but that's another thing. I have to go and pick up my glasses. So y'all soon gonna see me wearing glasses, but I've been wearing glasses from the age of like 14, but I haven't worn them in the past 10 years, and they say my eyes are getting worse. I don't think so, but we'll see. All right, let's get over to the Guavaberry page and see who's on there this morning. Again, welcome everybody, and thank you guys for supporting me. The options, I'll just leave it. So let me turn that down. Let's see who's on here. Good morning, Wilma. Perline, good morning. Good morning. He calls me BVI Rose. I like it. Yeah, good morning. So we hang on a bit until people start to get on the live, and we're going to ask you, of course, to share it this morning. What are we going to do this morning? Of course, we're going to go down the headlines for the day. And there are only a few that I'm going to touch on that I might expound on. And then I want to talk about a couple things. Oh, I sent a Premier message this morning. Let me see if he answered me. Someone sent me a question, and I needed to ask him some questions. It's still, oh, he's online now. I don't know if he's going to see my question. I was going to say it has two texts, but no blue lines. I'm going to wait to see. Maybe he's putting me on the side this year. Someone sent a question about the fisher folk and farmers' money yesterday. So I sent him a question just to find out some detail so I can try to answer that question properly for the listener. So hopefully he responds. I see he's online right now. So if anybody wants to send the Premier message and say Cindy sent him a question, that would be great. So I'm going to get back to that question. Someone had a question on the fisher and farmers money yesterday. We're going to touch on the headlines. Specifically, we want to talk about Baroness Hodge. There's a bit of news in there about her. So I want to talk about her, even her visit, you know, how she sees the BVI, etc. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the Scotland Primary School. There's some information in, well, not really information, but it was in the speech from the throne as one of the things to get to. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. And I've had some questions about that as well. So we can pick that one up. We can, let me just give me 1 second. I'm going to respond to the thing. So give me 1 second, because I want this show to be accurate when I am giving out information, but then my opinion and my breakdown of the facts is just that, my opinion and my breakdown. So let me forward that to her, see if she can give us the answer, so we'll know how to respond to that listener. Alrighty. So we're also going to talk about the BVI joining the OECS and CARICOM. I think that's a big conversation that we can have. The premier went off in, I think last week, they were having conversations about the situation with the US, etc. And so I want to talk about that, talk about us joining the OECS, CARICOM. If you have questions and statements, put them in the comment section. I want to hear your views on all of that. And, whether, I'll get to it. We'll get to it. Then we want to talk about the premier himself and his position on colonialism, Africa, the BVI, and where he sees us in the Caribbean. I want to cover that. So I hope I can get all of this done by 11:30. I think I can. It depends on how deep I go into each topic. And then I also want to touch on sargassum. This is going to be a heavy year in 2026, so we're going to talk about that. And then the question on the fishers and farmers. And my actual topics for today, some of them I'm just going to breeze on. Some I'm going to go really in depth. The Bank of Asia. We're going to talk about the Bank of Asia. We're going to talk about Prospect and its handover to Lorna. I'm going to, I don't want to say that, to the Honorable Lorna Smith. I definitely want to keep this show above board. Of course, they're gonna rub me the wrong way at some point, and I won't. But I want to keep it above board. I want this show to be a show of awareness, learning, education, and us understanding our position. So when we head to the polls in a bit, we know what we're doing. So we want to talk about labor. There are a lot of things going on over at labor. We're gonna talk about that. Okay. Where do Virgin Islanders come down? Virgin Islanders and belongers come down in this BVI that we're building, where their places. We're going to talk about that. And my biggest topic for today, we're going to deliberate a bit on elections, just elections in general, people crossing the floor, what's lining up, kind of what we can expect, what that can look like, how it can be broken down, some outlooks. And we also gonna look at how the House can be dissolved, when it can be dissolved, when elections can be the latest time, and so forth. So we're gonna go through all of that. So that's my lineup for today. On that tune, I'm gonna say good morning to my companies that have powered the morning facts thus far. Caribbean Sellers, thank you. CCT BVI, Premier Insurance Limited. Premier Insurance Limited, I think they have a 20% discount deal going on right now. So if you reach out to them, you can figure out what that deal is and what you can get. They have home insurance, I think life insurance, car insurance, and all those things. I don't think they have bike insurance. I've been encouraging Bruce to get into that, but maybe it's not a lucrative enough market for him, or it's too, what's the word? Risky. Frozen imports, good morning. I have their menu for the day. And thank God I had their listening, because I said we don't have rice and peas in the BVI. We have peas and rice, and they've corrected it. So shout out to Frozen Imports for that. Then to Marcus and AC, thank you for your support of Guavaberry, this platform, and for supporting us. Alrighty, let's see here. All right, so I got my answer. Thank you. And I got my answer from the PS. I'm gonna say that. Thank you. And that doesn't in any way, make the premier look bad. Maybe he's busy. He usually answers me. No matter how much we argue and fight, if I send him a question, he's going to answer. If I call him, he's going to pick up. If I ask him to call me, he's going to call me. So I'm going to give him that. So, you guys get carried away with whatever it is that's going on with the premier and I. Whenever, I have to get heavy-handed with him, you guys think, oh, there's an ulterior motive or whatever. I'm going to hold this country in check until I pull my last breath. Alrighty, we're gonna take a 2-minute break. I'm gonna gather up my tea. I woke up with a bit of a headache this morning. It seems to be subsiding. So my camera guy, Frost Media, let me just, I like to call him my camera guy, but Camroy from Frost Media, he's very good. He's very committed to his work, very professional. So he said, so maybe when you get to the studio, like go through the teas and see which one might work best. I wasn't even thinking about that. So this morning for my BVI Bush tea, from BVI Bush Teas, I have chosen to have the Nature's Powerhouse to see if that is gonna, help me with my headache, etc. I'm actually very tired as well. So this one contains mango and moringa and papaya. So I'm gonna see if this works for me. It's supposed to relieve colds and it's pain relief and so forth. So let's see how that works. So that's gonna be my tea for the day. I'm gonna go set that up. I'm gonna go on a 2-minute break and I'm gonna be right back to get into the conversation for the day. Thank you for joining us on the Morning Facts.
No spin, educate, empower, let the day begin. Sunrise busting over hills and sea. Radio on, tune in frequency. From policy talk to community news. She asked the questions, bring real truth. No long talk, straight to the point. Facts so clean, they anoint. From the people voice to the leader's seat. She connect the dots, make sense of it. If you want knowledge, tune in early. If you want clarity, don't come late. The morning facts with Cindy Rose on how the country running. We break it down. A chance on none in pound and two. Electrifying facts from me and you. Economy, health, education. Youth, them future, the whole foundation. Culture, law, accountability. She hold the line for transparency. Not just talk, context and insight. So you can reason and get it right. Morning boost for your mind and soul. Information is power. Take control. Grab your bush tea. Clear your head. Start your day. Properly fed. Who got the facts? Who got the facts? Cindy. Who asks the hard questions? Who keep it real every morning? Cindy. Daily talk show. Daily talk show. Covering the issues. It drops an empire. Electrifying. Powerful morning booze. The morning facts with Cindy Rose and from sunrise talk to national plan. Facts in the morning so we understand. Strong mind, strong people, stronger land. The morning facts with Cindy Rose and from sunrise talk to national plan. Facts in the morning so we understand. Strong mind, strong people, stronger land. Before you step out, before you decide, get the facts in the morning and walk with pride. The morning facts with Cindy Rosen. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine, nation. Grab your bush tea. Cindy Rosen in the building. Let's break it down. The morning facts with Cindy Rosen. How the country running, we break it down. Facts in the morning, no gimmicks, no spin. Educate, empower, let the day begin. Sunrise busting over hills and sea. Radio on, tune in frequency. From policy talk to community news. She asked the questions, bring real truth. No long talk, straight to the point. Facts so clean, they anoint. From the people voice to the leader's seat. She connect the dots, make sense of it. If you want knowledge, tune in early. If you want clarity, don't come late. The morning facts with Cindy Rose on how the country running. We break it down. A chance on none in pound and two. Electrifying facts from me culture the whole foundation. Culture, law, accountability. She hold the line for transparency. Not just talk, context and insight, so you can reason and get it right. Morning boost for your mind and soul. Information is power. Take control. Grab your bush tea, clear your head. Start your day properly fed. Who got the facts? Who got the facts? Cindy. Who asks the hard questions? Who keep it real every morning? Daily talk show. Daily talk show. We're covering the issues. It drops an empire. Electrifying. Powerful morning booze. The morning facts with Cindy Rose, and from sunrise talk to national plan. Facts in the morning so we understand. Strong minds, strong people, stronger land. The morning facts with Cindy Rose, and from sunrise talk to national plan. Facts in the morning so we understand. Strong minds, strong people, stronger land. Before you step out, before you decide, get the facts in the morning and walk with pride. The morning facts with Cindy Rosen. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine, nation. Grab your bush tea, Cindy Rosen in the building. Let's break it down. The morning facts with Cindy Rosen. How the country running, we break it down. Facts in the morning, no gimmicks, no spin. Educate, empower, let the day begin. Sunrise busting over hills and sea. Radio on, tune in frequency. From policy talk to community news. She asks the questions, bring real truth. No long talk, straight to the point. Facts so
Hello, I'm back. I just want to look at something here quickly. So we're gonna start off with oh my, some more news came up, but I'm gonna start with this anyway. We're gonna go with what we said, and then we'll see if we can fit in some other new stuff that has popped up. All right, so I want to start off with Baroness Hodge. All right, let's start off with that bit of news. In the news, it says Baroness Hodge told BVI to abandon financial services. And I know this news line is going back because what we do in the news, we look for news, we look everywhere. And if we have to go back to other things and turn it into, relevant news story, we will do that because this is a small space. So we have to keep looking for information. So Baroness Hodge was here last year. I can't remember when. I think it was in the last quarter of last year. She was here, either August or September. I can't remember. Let's see if it says in here. Either way, she paid a visit because, we've been having a bit of an issue with our financial services and the UK, the EU, etc. I'm not going to go too heavy into it because I really want to concentrate on what this headline is talking about. And I can talk to it too. She did invite the media to have, I swear to God, it was like a 2-minute sit down. I found it disrespectful to the media, but I'm not going to harp on it. We're always on the back burner, only when they need us, they call us, and that's fine. So we did have a 2-minute sit down with her. I think 3 of the media houses turned up, as I could recall. And they literally at the governor's house, and they gave us literally 1 question per person. Of course, I squeezed in 2 because I'm rebellious like that. You have to forgive me. I'm an Aquarius. We're rebellious. If you say no, we're going to say yes. If we say it's black and you say it's white, that's just how we are. It just has to be and we look for the argument for it to be what it is. So don't hold it against us, okay? Anyway, she was here, and so this headline is saying that Baroness Hodge told BVI to abandon financial services. Now, she didn't say specifically like that to the media, but I could tell you she was harping on a lot because she's never been here before. This was her first time here, but she was definitely harping on a lot about our beauty. And you could tell that she had been briefed before she came. Of course, she would have been briefed. She's gonna come in blindsided, but you could tell that, you know, they have whatever they want their agenda to be. And so she was harping on a lot about our beauty and the waters and what we could do with our tourism products, as if we didn't know that. But of course, our people don't trust our people to, you know, put a proper tourism plan together. So we outsource it for millions of dollars, and you know, people who are outside unfamiliar with your product come in and tell you how to do it and what to do and blah 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 and all of that. But I'm not gonna go there right now because I don't want to be frustrated today. Although I know I'm gonna get frustrated by the middle of this show this morning. But yeah, she was harping on a lot about our beauty, the tourism product, what it could be. She even said that, you know, when she go back to the UK, she's gonna talk to them about supporting the airport project and support and giving us money, etc. So, can you guys count how many times I say I'm trying to eliminate out of my vocabulary. Anyways, yeah, so she was saying that she would go back and she would encourage the UK to support the airport project, etc., because, you know, we had a beautiful place and all the things that we could do and so forth and so forth. And I think she compared us to some one of the, is it Jersey Islands? I can't remember. Anyway, she was harping on about that. So this headline, I could see that. I don't recall her saying that to us. What she did say to the media sitting there was that she thought that we were trying, and that you know, hopefully, you know, we'll get on the same page and with them, whatever that would mean, and you know, we'll figure it all out in the end. I know we're definitely not going to abandon our financial services sector. I know we're not going to do that. I don't know how much more transformation or diversifying it can do. I'm sure there's room for that, and I'm going to leave that to them. I know they're having their struggles. I'm also going to leave that to them. And hopefully, I'm going to say hopefully. I'm going to tell you why I'm saying hopefully, because I think that a lot of entities that can come and sit on shows like these, well, of course, you know, government tries to make us look controversial until they want to come and sit on your platform because it's beneficial to them. But I think a lot of even government entities, the what do we call them? Or statutory boards, private entities, private professionals should come more and sit in on our shows. We can determine the conversation for the day. And I believe that is where a lot of the educating of the populace will happen. Right now, it is left to like voices like mine and then government. A country, a territory, an island, any nation cannot develop successfully where you just have, you know, voices like mine advocating mostly against government and their wrongdoing. You need other entities to help in developing a wider, broader, well-developed community, okay? So the charitable organizations, they should use platforms like these, and they should be open to strong questions as well to even keep them, you know, accountable. You know, economists, you know, business people, those that have passed on. When I say passed on, I don't mean that have died, but those that have retired, say, for example, from the financial services sector, come in, sit down, explain it to us more. The young people have no idea. I know they have like an hour a week, I think, or a month. I'm not sure. So don't quote me. They'll correct me because I'm sure they're listening. I think they have like an hour a month or a week. financial services lecturing at the high school. That is certainly not enough for our major pillar. Okay, I don't know. I think they have for tourism as well. We need more community engagement to get people to understand exactly, the power of both our pillars that we have right now. Even agriculture, get the farmers, those involved in that. Anybody who would like to sit on the platform and have conversation around all of these topics, around, the BVI, where it's going, its best, its industries, how they function, the economy, indicators that we need to be looking for. I think we need to step up and step out. The government is not to be the lead in all of these things. Okay, and I know those of you listening to me, those of you professionals in these various industries, you know that. And I know that you don't want to get involved in, anything that might upset the government, which is crazy in my mind, that we have that type of thought process, but I understand where it comes from. We don't want to disrupt our businesses. We don't want to get calls. We don't want to be, sanctioned, which is illegal, but they do it privately. So I get it, but it's food for thought. I'm going to leave you guys with that. As this program goes on, I'm going to reach out to people. I'm going to invite you on. If you can't make it on, I'm going to let the public know I've invited you. This is a community program where we want to use this program to educate. I've said that before, raise awareness on certain things and have open dialogue with the community, with the business sector, with government, and all other entities involved. All right. So the Baroness, I know for sure that they definitely want to push more of our tourism product and ease off of financial services. Another thing that, she spoke a bit about in terms of our borders, of course, how porous it was, the crime that happens through our borders, guns and drugs coming in. She also had that conversation with us, but she was very heavy-handed on our tourism product, developing it more, how much more we could do. And the truth is, we have a lot of work to do with our tourism product. And it's kind of sad to me because it's 2026. I almost said 25. It's 2026. And we really, yes, people can come in here and they can have a great time. They can go to the beach, they can go sailing, they can, do that stuff. But is that it? I find that we haven't been able to develop our tourism product in a rounded manner. We either cater for the bareboaters, those that want to go out sailing, I guess medium to high end income, and because it costs a lot to come here and go out sailing. And then you have the really high end, which is mostly in the North Sound. So other territories, I'm gonna say like Cayman, I know Jamaica as well. They've done a really good job at attracting a wide demographic of tourist traveler. Okay, so I think we could do a better job of developing our tourism product, and then what the infrastructure of the territory looks like. It's not well developed. We don't need to go into all of that today. We know what it is. We know we have our water issues, the road issues, and we have a lot of sites that are undeveloped or underdeveloped or that are not maintained. So yeah, we have a lot of work to do with our tourism product, and our tourism product also, there also is still a lot that can happen to add diversity to our tourism product. I see my friend Robbie, he's always talking about the jet skis. And I believe when they brought in the jet ski law, like King Garden Bay, like the areas that had it before, they were grandfathered in. But I think it's time to open that up. And I'm understanding that the pushback is more coming from the police side. Is more coming from the police side, I understand. But to me, if it's in the territory already, it's here. Develop the guidelines and let businesses function. If it can only take, say, 5 providers, you want to start with that. You decide how those 5 providers are selected. You develop your guidelines and so forth for having that business, and just let it go. I think we monitor too much. We want to control too much. Just let things develop and let things grow. There isn't a lot to be done in this territory for tourists. They talk about developing event tourism, which is a good thing. I've been the event coordinator for the BVI Tourist Board. I developed that market, but where it is going is not. It's not what it's supposed to look like. I'm just going to leave that like that. I don't want to get into that discussion either. I'm going to leave it to who's there right now for them to do their thing. If government changes over, you hope it takes a different and more lucrative, thought out turn. All right. So in terms of that headline, I want to agree that I think it's accurate because she has a very strong focus on tourism, and they're very heavy-handed on us right now with our financial services. I could break down the financial services debacle that's going on, but I'm not going to do it this morning because I didn't come prepared. All right, at the Scotliff Primary School. Let's see some comments here real quickly. Okay, I think that comment is in relation to the OECS. I'm going to get back to it when we get there. All right, one commenter said, Cindy, no way, we're not doing that. They wanted the FS Financial Services monies to go to the British Treasury, and we must beg for pittance of it. All right. Do you have information on that? Because I'm not aware of that, Roger. I'm not aware of that. Someone said we need small manufacturing legislation. BVI needs to step up its game. Right. Yeah. In terms of our tourism product, historical sites, which I said there's some that are amazing that we haven't developed. The ones that we have, we're not maintaining, and so forth. Horse racing, with betting, hotel occupancy, and casinos. That, of course, is another big conversation we can have in terms of where we are now with that went quiet. Horse racing, bringing that back, whatever is going on with the Thomas family in Seacoast Bay, we can get back to that. The Scotliff Primary School. I saw it on the news this morning, and I think it was pulled out because conversation is happening around it on the outside, like outside, off screen, off the radio, etc. So there's mumbling amongst the people on Facebook and so forth about Scotliff Primary School, especially the $2 million that the minister allotted for developing a new festival site has irritated people. Let me just say like that, is that it has irritated people because people feel that other more important things can happen with that money. As far as I know, with the Scotliff Primary School, there is what's the name of the there's an organization, as it comes to me, I'm going to say it, that has said that they would build the Scotliff School. I don't know if they are doing it themselves or the money is going to government. Rebuilding the school was on the list of things to do this year in the speech from the throne, which I've said before that the premier is the one that prepares the speech. Whatever he's going to do, his government is going to do for the year, they prepare it, and the governor is the one that presents it, I guess, because he's head of state. So it's called the speech from the throne, but it actually comes from the premier and his government in terms of what their aspirations are for the year ahead. So the Alpha Catholic School is on there, but I get the argument because it's just being said all the time that it will be rebuilt, it will be rebuilt, it will be rebuilt. Is it going to be rebuilt in the spot that it was? I don't know. I don't know. Has anybody else seen the amount of landfill that has been going on where the cultural center was pulled down? They're totally filling in that spot. I don't know what they're gonna do with it because the premier hasn't presented his actual plans for certain things yet. So I don't know what's going there on that space, but there has been total landfill there. It's been smoothed out, brought up to, I would call above sea level. So I'm not sure what they're going to do there. It's an art center. I don't know. So the conversation about the Alta Catholic School is coming up. I've seen people saying things about maybe a protest in some kind of way, shape or form. So I know people are irritated about the Alta Catholic School. I can say that I saw it in the news, and I believe that Vino put it there to quell the noise. They pulled that out, but it can be on their plans for the year and they never get to it. Okay, so I just want to say that in their plans, they may not get to it. Okay, but it's on their plans for 2026. And as far as we know, there's an organization that said that they will rebuild the Alta Catholic School. All right, going down the list, I want to jump on, let me jump on the heavy sarcasm. Oh, let's do the question from yesterday. So I had a question that came in this morning, and it was from a farmer, actually. If we recall, back in 2019, then Andrew Foy, the Premier, Andrew Foy, he put in place a tax on persons sending money out of the country via like MoneyGram and Western Union. To my knowledge, it was for, he mentioned education. I don't know if he mentioned farming and fishing too, like that was where he was going to concentrate the money. It might have been both. So what the person wanted to know is why, if the money that is coming in from the tax on that, and the question that I asked the Premier's office was, is that tax still ongoing? Because we don't hear much about it anymore, but they confirmed that yes, that tax is ongoing. Now that would be millions of dollars a year, I think. I think they had given an update the first time on how much they had collected. We hadn't heard anything since then. So if that initiative that was, you know, and of course, a new government, and I would say it's a new government because it's a new premier and he can take his government in the direction that he wants. He doesn't have to do what a prior premier, even within his government, did. So maybe that's the question I need to follow up and ask them as well. Is the money still being allotted to fisher folk and farmers and education? Because I did remember that education was a part of that. I often forget my WhatsApp and people are sending messages here. So I'm going to ask her as well. But okay, has the premier changed direction in where the monies from this initiative is allocated? Okay. Because yesterday we discussed that $136,000 was put into a grant for farmers and fisher folk. And we all agreed that it was a really small amount of money, given the number of farmers and fishers folk that we have in the BVI. So the person asked if the tax is still ongoing. It is. and where is that money now going? Because it initially was to be for farmers and fisher folk, and I'm going to throw in education there because I vividly remember Foy saying that it was going to go to education as well. So the answer is no, the act has not been amended. So which means, well, I don't know if it was part of an act. Okay. So can we get a figure on what has been collected to date from 2019, right? Would be to 2025. So if they can tell us, then that will help us. So he wanted to know, how much has been collected so far, and if the money is still to be allotted to the fisher folk and farmers and education. All right, so I would assume there has to be a few million that comes in there. And if we said that was for education and fisher and farmer folk and fisher folk and farmers, then $136,000 is really a slap in the face. All right, so that will require some research. So I will have to reach out to the Ministry of Finance and revert, and I am grateful for that. Once she gets that information to me, hopefully I can present it before the show is over or on another day. All right, so that was his question, like where is that money? If it was designated for the farmers and fisher folk and for education, where's the money? How much it has been coming in? If we could get that number from 2019 when it was launched to the end of 2025, how much the government has pulled in from that initiative, and why then, if the if the act wasn't amended, if they have changed where this money is being routed to, why has that been changed, or why it has not been happening? So, if they're listening, if you can give us that information that we can share with the public, I would be grateful. And this wouldn't be the first initiative that we don't know what's going on with, right? We have the money that's charged to the tourists, the environmental tax that is levied on the tourists that come in here. And up to now, we don't know how much money is there. Whenever we ask, it's hard to get the number. We don't see anything going to the environment. We don't know if it's been used, what it's been used for, how much has gone out of it. Nothing in terms of that fund. The last thing, they were putting a board back together. The board has been put back together for some time now. I think it's more than a year, and we still don't have any answers in terms of the monies that have come into that initiative. Any has been used, where it's been put to, we just can't get it. So I'll see if they come back to us on this. But the government, they say one thing and they do what they want. And when you don't trust them, you're the problem. Okay, but if the money was specifically for education, you justified adding that money onto those already hardworking people, and you justified it by putting it into education and developing farmers and fisher folk, how out of those millions of dollars can you only set aside $136,000 for them? It doesn't make any sense, right? We say one thing, but we do the other thing, which means we're just talking. We don't mean what we're saying. We're just saying something to make people feel good. We call that gaslighting, right? And I think we need to get past that in this small territory. Like, it's weighing heavy on people, and it's very frustrating for people, and it's hurting their livelihoods. Yeah? Alrighty, so we'll wait for them to come back on that bit of detail, and then we can discuss that a little bit more on another day or later into the show if she's able to get us the information. Let me take some of these notes out of my... All right, so there are comments here in my WhatsApp. I want to share them with you. Somebody saying we need to diversify, and I'm assuming she means the entire economy. We were told that financial services would come under heavier attacks. That was since 2005, and we have not diversified our economy up to now. We need to do light manufacturing here, find products that we can create and export from here. And in this person saying that, I totally agree, right? Because again, BBI bush teas, this is delicious. There are a lot of things that we produce here, and products that I think our farmers produce that can be exported. But before we even start to export, right? The money again that's being pulled in, where's education for farmers? What are they actually doing up there at the agricultural grounds, right? The head of agriculture and his team, like, what is their plan? What is the plan? I don't know who's the junior minister for agriculture now. I don't even know, because they throw, what's his name? Today's really not a good day for me. The District 1 rep, they throw him all over the place. So I don't know who's the junior minister. Is he still the junior minister for tourism? All right, if he, for agriculture, if he is, like, what are they doing up there? What are they doing? Because agriculture isn't just about planting a product or like farming or fishing or whatever. What is the end game? Yes, for food security, but of course to get products exported, right? That your farmers could get up and actually make this a living that they can make proper business out of it, feed their families, develop financial wealth, generational wealth. All of these things should be happening, but some of them need assistance, if not all of them need assistance in terms of developing their product, preparing it for the market, preparing it for export, branding, how to do marketing, proper advertising, PR. All of these things, I think the government or the agricultural department can work on with farmers and developing farmers. And that money that we were just talking about, if that is to be used, was set aside to be used for agriculture in the form of fisher folk and farmers, then that's where it should go. And it should be a few $1 million. So I don't know what the budget is for agriculture. I can find out. And I'm pretty sure that's really just to pay them. I don't want to say to sit down and do anything, but sometimes that's what it is. And the person went on to say that that's not a genius thought either. Think it is manufacturing a plane part, I think, or something to that effect. All right, so all right, so that was good commentary coming back from our WhatsApp chat here. All right, so so as soon as we know the answers to those questions that we've thrown onto the Premier's office and they come back, I will share that with you. This year, they're saying it's supposed to be a heavy year of sarcasm, 2026. Now, should we even have this sarcasm conversation? Because I don't think that Honorable Fraser, who is in charge of that, I think, natural resources, he said that they've done all they could do in terms of dealing with sarcasm. I think a couple of us have tried to ask, well, what were those things that you did, that you've done all you could do to fight sarcasm? Let's look at some things we can do with sarcasm. As far as I know, the government, they don't really remove any sarcasm from around the areas unless you beg and plead. They don't do any removal. So I'm trying to figure out what the things are that they've done, like they've tried everything, because you could do removal and they don't do that. The businesses that are underwater, I know that every day with the pileup, like that is like affecting their business, they try to remove it. In Hodges Creek, I think it's overwhelming for them. So I think they've given up the ghost, and I don't think the government is helping them in any way to remove or deal with this sargassum situation. Okay, but they've done all they could. Now, I don't believe the premier believes that, but his deputy premier says something and he has to stand with that. He said they've done all they could do. All right, so we could create barriers, floating barriers to keep it at bay. We haven't done that. We can do the manual cleanup. We haven't done that. We can use drones and satellites to see where it is, where it's coming, where the heavy, how to hold it back. We haven't done that. We can use it, we can process it for biofuels and bioplastics. We haven't done that. We can use it for agriculture, converting it into biofertilizers, compost, biostimulants, and so forth to improve soil and nutrient uptake, reducing synthetic fertilizer use. We haven't done that. We can use it for construction. We haven't used that. So what is it that we have done that we have done all that we could? We haven't done any of those things that, you know, Google is throwing up that we can use or do to minimize or even, you know, utilize or even economic viability. Like, we haven't done any of those things. So for the Honorable Julian Fraser, the Minister for Natural Resources, when you say that we've done all we can do and we're looking at an even heavier year for 2026, what are these things that we have done? And if you can tell us, and if you can't tell us, then can you tell us what your plan is for 2026 to make that easier for us to bear, because the stench is unbearable. Okay, and it don't matter from east to west, you're driving on the coast, it's just unbearable. The stench is unbearable. It makes you sick. It really makes you sick some days. In Virgin Gorda, did you guys know that all of that they try to keep quiet with the water pipes, the government water pipes up there? The sargassum, it goes into it. It goes down in there, it rots, it stinks, it clogs up the water pipes. And they said on a couple occasions that they have tested the water and the water is still clean. Now, stink water from sargassum that can be poisonous comes through your pipe, and the government is telling you they tested the water and it's fine, right? So on Virgin Gorda, it's a whole onslaught as well. It affects their water. The government tells them, oh, it's fine. Who tested the water? Where's the test? Can you share it with the public? Can you show us? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of us have access to a lot of people that we can share your test with to find out if it's actually, you know, real or done right, or if it's just you talking. You know, because they always say, oh, we've done this and we've done that. But when the media asks, can we have the report? Can we have the test? Can we find out who did the test? Mom, no, you can't have that. It's government property, blah, blah, blah. Who is government? Isn't government the people? So if he can tell us what he's done, showing us where they've done all they could, with us knowing that they haven't covered any of these things that were just listed out here. And this is just a few things that were listed out. They haven't done any of that. So if they could tell us what they've done and what their plan is for 2026, because it's projected to be a very heavy year. It's a heavy cost on businesses for removing from around their properties and out of the water all the time, just to keep their business tourism focused and driven and have people come and sit down and be comfortable. All right. So the government is definitely failing with sarcasm. We know that. So we look forward to hearing from the minister, although I think we're beneath him. He doesn't speak to us. He doesn't have to answer to us. Deputy Premier Fraser. All right, I want to get to these two interesting topics that's in the news, and then I think I'm going to take a quick break and come back to these two, because these two are going to be pretty long-winded, and then I'm going to hit up the topics for today. Before I go on a break, though, I'm going to give you some lunch options. I'm going to give you some lunch options. I'm going to first give you from our sponsor. And again, thank you, Shizu, for changing that to peas and rice and not rice and peas. All right, so on their menu, and this is D's, upstairs are frozen imports there in FedEx Bay. Their lunch menu for today, they have chicken breast with stir fry, or chicken breast stir fry. They have spare ribs, barbecue spare ribs. They have grilled kingfish. They have stew beef and stew pig feet. I know y'all love your pig feet. I'm not into that. Yes, they have stew pig feet. For their sides, they have white rice, carrot rice, stew peas, mashed potatoes, and steamed vegetables. All right, and of course they have their drinks, their soft drinks and juices. Of course, no alcoholic drinks. And then we have the pub. And again, I'm gonna say to you guys, if you want to get shout outs on the show, the number is running across on the bottom. You can contact us 440-3234, and we can give your company's shout outs, of course, for a fee. It's not gonna kill you. I think we're quite reasonable. So you can just reach out to us and we give shout outs. I know Valentine's is coming up. And so let us know what's happening for Valentine's. We can give shout outs daily from this point up to Valentine's Day, so people know what's going on, what products you have on sale, the jewelry stores, what specials you have. So just reach out to us, 440-3234 at the pub. Their lunch specials for today: chicken and lentil soup. You can get a small or you can get a large. They have coconut curried chicken. Oh, that sounds good. They have baked pork chops with mushroom sauce. Everybody knows I don't eat pork, but enjoy yourselves. And they have blackened salmon with mango salsa. Oh, that sounds so good and healthy. I probably could have that with a salad. And then we have, this is interesting. They have teriyaki conch rice bowl. I love rice bowls. My favorite is Island Tacos steak rice bowl. Like, that's my favorite. And then their sides, they have seasoned rice, scalloped potatoes, sauteed vegetables, and eggplant parmesan. All right, so that sounds yummy. Both menus sound really good. So go have your fill. And we're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back with these last two topics. I know I'm going to upset some people, so let me just go take a break and catch my breath. And then we're going to get on to the topics for today, which is going to, of course, upset even more people. So I'll be right back, okay?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine, nation. Grab your bush tea. Cindy Rosen in the building. Let's break it down. The morning facts with Cindy Rosen. How the country running, we break it down. Facts in the morning, no gimmicks, no spin. Educate, empower, let the day begin. Sunrise busting over hills and sea. Radio on, tune in frequency. From policy talk to community news. She asked the questions, bring real truth. No long talk, straight to the point. Facts so clean, they anoint. From the people voice to the leader's seat. She connect the dots, make sense of it. If you want knowledge, tune in early. If you want clarity, don't come late. The morning facts with Cindy Rosen. How the country running, we break it down. A chance undone in pound and two. Electrifying facts from me and you. Economy, health, education. Youth, them future, the whole foundation. Culture, law, accountability. She hold the line for transparency, not just talk, context and insight, so you can reason and get it right. Morning boost for your mind and soul. Information is power. Take control. Grab your bush tea, clear your head, start your day properly fed. Who got the facts? Who got the facts? Cindy. Who asks the hard questions? Who keep it real every morning? Daily talk show. Daily talk show. Covering the issues. It drops an empire. Electrifying. Powerful morning booze. The morning facts with Cindy Rose, and from sunrise talk to national plan. Facts in the morning so we understand. Strong minds, strong people, stronger land. The morning facts with Cindy Rose, and from sunrise talk to national plan. Facts in the morning so we understand. Strong minds, strong people, stronger land. Before you step out, before you decide, get the facts in the morning and walk with pride. The morning facts with Cindy Rosen. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine, nation. Grab your bush tea. Cindy Rosen in the building. Let's break it down. The morning facts with Cindy Rosen. How the country running, we break it down. Facts in the morning, no gimmicks, no spin. Educate, empower, let the day begin. Sunrise busting over hills and sea. Radio on, tune in frequency. From policy talk to community news. She asks the questions, bring real truth. No long talk, straight to the point. Facts so clean, they anoint. From the people voice to the leader's seat. She connect the dots, make sense of it. If you want knowledge, tune in early. If you want clarity, don't come late. The morning facts with Cindy Rose on how the country running, we break it down. A chance undone in count two. Electrifying facts for me and you. Economy, health, education, youth, them future, the whole foundation. Culture, law, accountability. She hold the line for transparency, not just talk, context and insight, so you can reason and get it right. Morning boost for your mind and soul. Information is power. Take control. Grab your bush tea, clear your head, start your day properly fed. Who got the facts? Who got the facts? Cindy. Who asks the hard questions? Who keep it real every morning? Daily talk show. Daily talk show. Covering the issues. It drops an empire. Electrifying. Powerful morning booze. The morning facts with Cindy Rose, and from sunrise talk to national plan. Facts in the morning so we understand. Strong minds, strong people, stronger land. The morning facts with Cindy Rose, and from sunrise talk to national plan. Facts in the morning so we understand. Strong minds, strong people, stronger land. Before you step out, before you decide, get the facts in the morning and walk with pride. The morning facts with Cindy Rosen. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine, nation. Grab your bush.
Alrighty, I'm back. Welcome back to the Morning Facts show. This is our first week. I think it has gone well. I've been exhausted, to be very honest. But I think these BVI bush teas are working for me. So as I mentioned, I had the one, it's called Power, that has moringa and papaya in it. And to be truthful, it tastes okay. It tastes good. Um, it tastes good. I'm a tea person, so I really like teas. So, but this tastes good. And I used their honey stick today. Before I was using sugar. I like sugar. I like sugar. I like sugar only in my teas and coffees. Let me be clear about that. Outside of that, I'm not like a sweet person. I don't like a lot of sweet. So I use the honey stick as well. I think that is helping me even more. And I'll say, like, yesterday I had to pick up my daughter from school because she was sick, so she might have been trying to pass something on to me. So hopefully this can break it. Alrighty, thank you. Welcome back. And as we go down the line, I have a comment here from the Anegada people, or an observation or something they want me to throw out there, ask the question, and I'm going to do just that. And that question is, when is the last time any member of government has traveled to Anegada to meet with the people? And when they say meet with the people, they mean to have a town hall, sit down, the way they did when COI and other major things were going on, and they wanted to, keep them on their side, get them on their side, make sure they're understanding from their perspective, like those types of town halls that, they do. So apparently they haven't been over there since COI or something like that to hold a town hall with the people. So they're basically saying, like, we're over here too. You need to come see us. We're over here. And Anegada has always struggled with that, like, fighting to remain relevant after they voted, fighting to remain relevant as an important part of the BVI or islands or economy. They play their part too. They're a big part of our tourist product, our tourism product, and they're left out every time in terms of funding and everything. But I must say, BVI Electricity just did a solar farm over there. They opened it. It was December, I believe, and I think that's a great project for Anegada because they have suffered a lot with outages, and I believe that will help them and help to reduce. I don't know if they'll see the savings immediately because the project costs a lot, I guess, and as in any business, you need to recoup at least a bit of your money before you can pass on some savings. So yeah, they're saying, come over, sit with us, have the town hall meetings. We want to see you. We want to talk to you. When you come over, don't just sweep through and come for a graduation. Then, you jump on a plane or a boat and you're gone. You don't spend time with the people. They are wanting for you guys to come over and sit with them, hear their issues, and so forth. And then, oh, Lord, I ain't gotta say what they're saying. I have to say what they're saying. And when I say this, I don't just say what I'm saying. They say, never. We need you guys to come over. And they're saying, like, but you're in church giving out money. I don't really have a problem, as I said yesterday, with the government supporting the churches in if they need it. If they need it. All right. All right. So attending launches, business launches, but Anegadians cannot get trade licenses because their titles have been held up at the ministry. And this is an ongoing debacle with Anegadians and their land titles. And I've come to learn some more stuff, and I'm gonna dedicate a whole show, and I hope Anegada people are ready to have that conversation, because just like a lot of other people, I think that they're scared to talk about the corruption that has happened with Anegada lands. I think it's time to talk about it in its rawest form. But, it doesn't necessarily affect me. It mostly affects you guys. So I always say I'm here to stand right next to anybody that wants to fight for their rights, for what is supposed to be theirs, for good governance, for all of that. I'm here to fight with you. I'm not fighting for anybody. If you understand what I'm saying. I think I've done a lot of that. I put my children on the back burner. I've taken a lot of blows. I still taking a lot of blows when I step out in front. So I'm willing to step right next to you, stand real firm with you, hold your hand, grab you if you want to fling a rock. And, I'm just saying that, but, I hold you so you could get your balance. All of that, I'm willing to help. I'm just going to stand with you, but I'm not going to stand and throw the rock for you if you need to throw the rock. Yeah? Cool. Something just crossed my mind. Yeah, so currently they're saying over 100 titles have been approved by cabinet and are sitting in the ministry unprocessed without explanation. I think somebody told me something yesterday about the Anegada lands being sold already. That's why the titles can't be approved, but you guys are gonna have to look deeper and then figure it out. And like I said, I'm right here to stand with you. Okay, all while the 9th district rep, deputy premier and premier are sitting in cabinet and have been ministers over the subject. I absolutely agree with the Anegada people. All right, I agree. Another commenter is saying I need to put GBM on my cup. My intention is to put the morning show though, but not on this particular cup. I need to get some other teacups that I can brand the same way I branded Cut Deep, and they'll brand GBM as well. And that is something I'm going to get to. I did it with my other show Cut Deep, and I started to sell the mugs. People were asking for the mugs and so forth, but I'll get there. I don't want to say baby steps. I'm trying to do big leaps, but there's so much going on all at once. And thank you for that suggestion. I've thought about it and I intend to make sure that happens. Let me go quickly and see if there are some comments on the Facebook page. I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm trying to get slowly, and I know people want this show to be a lot more exciting. Brand Cindy, what they know Brand Cindy to be, but we're gonna get there. We're taking our time. We're working out some kinks and so forth. We're gonna get there. All right, some comments coming in here. All right, people are saying they use the money for capital projects. I'm not going to assume, because I just tell people all the time, I like to get the facts and then I could break down the facts with my opinion or my thoughts or whatever. But I want to wait to get the facts of what they say, how much money has come in, and identify exactly what it was supposed to be for and what it has been used for. If that money has been put in a trust somewhere, or if it's on the side, or it's all mingled into all of government's money and all being used however. And if there's an act in place, and I want people to understand that, if there's an act in place that says something and the government is doing contrary, that's operating illegally. Y'all know you could take government to court, right? Y'all so fraidy. All right, so somebody's saying it was probably used for capital projects. And then somebody throwing about the admin complex. Of course, that's a capital project, but then they're saying the admin complex was insured. I don't think, well, the money that they got for insurance for the complex could definitely have been used to repair it, but another person is saying we could initiate boat building and yacht building. And that's something that our forefathers do, not the yacht, but the boat. But I can't see why we can't get to that level. Yeah, I agree. Someone said we just need the proper laws passed and the businesses will do the rest. But we also need government supporting the businesses doing the rest, right? So one of the problems that I feel like we have in the BVI, and I keep saying it, we have all the laws on the books that you could think about, laws, policies, all kind of things. But then the people that pass the legislation, the legislators, they in turn don't abide by the legislation. They give passes, they do what they want. At their behest, and they can't do that. Is something that I said should come out of the Constitution at the minister's discretion. I don't think anybody removed it. Nobody listened. So we're going to keep going through what we're going to go through, and we're going to just have to like it. Who that is? All right, I have no idea. Roger, we don't care what it means when we say it. In the BVI, we say peas and rice. He's saying when we say peas and rice, it means there's more peas than rice in the cook-up, and it's vice versa when it's rice and peas. I don't agree with you. Either which way, in the BVI, we say peas and rice. Yes, I kind of agree with this commenter. And, you know, he said, sadly, it's like no one cares for them over there. And he's referring to Anegada. And sometimes I feel like Anegada in itself don't really care for Anegada. I say the same about Virgin. And I'm going to say the same about all Virgin Islanders. You know, we vote for these people. They tell us a bunch of bullshit at the beginning. On the campaign trail, nobody wants to hold them accountable. You just want them to smile in your face, give you $1 in an envelope or whatever, and you feel that that's okay. There is no amount of money unless you like talking real money. So for example, if you're out of a job and maybe you can make, you know, some minimum 30,000 a year, depending, because these are the people that really hot up government, right? You can make $30,000 a year. And you're out of a job, they're in there doing nonsense anyway, and they're blocking you from getting a job as a Virgin Islander or whatever, as a voter. And, you know, they're going around and you telling them about your hardship, and then they decide they give you $1,000. What can you do with $1,000? Like, seriously. Before they walk out, I mean, your bills are probably way past that. So what can you do with $1,000 when somebody gives you $1,000 in a white envelope and it makes you feel good right in that moment? It can't do anything for you. When they go back in there, they're going to continue turning up your life. You're not going to get a job. You're going to still be on the street. You're going to be struggling, suffering. So why give away that so important right just for, you know, something in an envelope or promise that again? No, don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, so I'm beginning to not feel sorry for people. Although it's hard for me to not do that, because you get the same thing over and over and over, and you still vote. You still vote for these people, you know. And I just talk about Ralph O'Neill's tenure all the time. A lot of people know a lot of things that he did over on those in his district, and they felt it. But then it was more important for him to like them or they not come under his wrath or whatever to keep voting for him. That's weird to me. That's weird to me. That's weird. Anywho, moving along. There's a little headline today about the premier talking about having dialogue with the UK on the BVI fully joining OECS and CARICOM, right? Becoming full members. And to be honest, I think the premier was down there in January last week. He went down there last week. They were having a meeting in regards to, you know, the sanction with the visas that the US Trump put on some of the islands, and also, you know, some of them agreeing to take in some of these refugees. And I'll say it here in favor of those islands. And I don't know what the discussions and negotiations and agreements were, but I want to believe that they had those before. And then I believe that the whole visa issue was a blindside for them. So they had already agreed. That's what I think. I might be wrong. I'm just saying what I think happened. I believe that they had agreed to take in these refugees. And I don't know why small Caribbean islands will want to take on refugees. I just don't know. Like, you can barely handle the people that's in your country, and you're trying to take on other refugees. Now we can look at it on the positive side and say that, these people might bring skills and expertise that you could use. I don't know, but you have to, balance it out based on what your territory can deal with. But I believe that they made those agreements before. I don't believe that they're doing it for free. I don't believe they're doing it for free, but that's something that, their citizens need to take up with their leaders. But I believe that they were blindsided with the whole visa thing. I don't think they expected it, but they have to live with that. But anyway, I was surprised because I saw an article in one of the Caribbean papers last week where they had a meeting, and, I think Anguilla, Montserrat, and our premier was there, and he was having big conversation. And I said to myself, like, why is this man down there in the middle of this thing? Like, why are you down there on our time, our dime? And I don't have a problem with us in terms of where we want to get with, being a more intricate part of the Caribbean. I think all of us need to discuss that. The premier fails to bring these conversations to the people so the people can be a part of, and so that people can decide exactly what we want to do and not want to do. It is not the premier's decision to get, it's not the premier's right to get us wrapped up in these things. He needs to have a conversation. When these are major conversations about our future, that the premier should be holding town meetings, real meetings. And we don't really go to town meetings, but we'll tune into Facebook, we'll listen, we'll punch in our questions. Who can go, we'll go and sit down. Those who want to ask questions, the media, etc. But he needs to be doing that instead of, he's over here having these meetings with them. He's up in the UK having, conversations with them as to us being a full part of CARICOM and OECS. The last time I checked, the people were saying no. They don't want that, they're not ready. So how are you up in the UK having these conversations with these people? How are you over there in the midst of their fight with Trump? I don't understand. Like, how are you in there conducting the meeting and being a big part of the meeting, the conversation? I don't get it. Like, have you thought about any ramifications for us, for the territory? Do you know where we stand on all of this? Like, you're really going about it the wrong way. And it's the same thing with the conversation of independence and further self-determination. You don't know if the BVI wants that, if we want it, if we don't want it, if we do want it, how we want it. You don't even want to have a conversation with us. The constitutional review, I'm trying to get, information on actually what was passed and what they're going to the UK with. How do we not know? You're planning to go up to the UK for all constitutional review talks. What is it that you guys have agreed on? It needs to come out to the people so we can review it before you go with it. We need to know that what you're going with is what we want and what we said we wanted and agreed to, and what made it into the actual constitutional review preliminaries before it went to the House of Assembly. Then you guys took out what you wanted, debated on that. We need to know what those things are that you're going over to the UK with. I don't understand. Do we live in a democracy or do we not? Do we freely elect a government to do the bidding of the people, or have we not? I'm getting so confused. Like, what are you doing? And this is where me and the premier that hit heads. We don't butt heads. He gonna get angry because he don't like nobody to, come at him. But what are you doing? Like, we need a conversation. We need some town halls, whether it's done by Facebook, however you want to do it. We need some town halls. What are you talking about joining OECS and CARICOM fully? What does that mean for us? Do we want that? I don't know. You need to find out from the people. What are you talking to the UK about? We did not send you to the UK to say that we want to join any entities. We didn't give you that conversation or that directive to go up there to talk about that. So how are you in conversations about it? You need our support to do certain things. And I know you feel like you could do what you want because you've said to me before, do you understand the power of the Premier's office? And I keep asking you, do you understand it? The other one who thought that he would understood it is in jail in Miami or wherever they have him, because he thought that he understood the power of the Premier's office. It's the people's office. It belongs to us. You can't do whatever you want. All right? The constitutional review that you're heading over to the UK very shortly, we need to see what you're going over there with. You need to lay it on the table for us so we can discuss it as a people. We need to know what you're going over there. When you come back, when you go with what we say you're going with, you need to tell us what changes they made before you sign off on anything. And I keep telling y'all to go down by the House of Assembly down there and encircle it and close it down, and y'all don't listen to me. When I put things up on my Facebook, like what I put up yesterday, and everybody gets anxious and unseen, what are you talking about? But the BVI is going to be beaten with a lot of strikes because y'all don't listen. Your hearts are so hardened. Bring these people under control. You're gonna lose everything. Moving on. The Premier, I want to talk about the Premier, and this is coming about because of the OECS conversation and the CARICOM and his position on the UK or constitutional review and all of these things. You know, I was sitting down the other day and I tell you guys, I contemplate a lot. I think about a lot of things that's happening around us. I try to, you know, connect dots. I don't always get the dots connected. I mean, connected here and it should have been connected over there. But eventually, you know, I come around as information continue to funnel in. But I gave myself a moment and I was thinking about the Premier and who he is and, you know, who he has projected himself to us. And I'm going to say over the years. Now, I said to people, I don't know the Premier, even when it came down to that, we really wanted to get Dr. Pickering out because he wasn't doing what he needed to do for us over 20 years. And there was a couple of people stepping up. And for reasons, a group of us did decide, you know what? And this was like, this was literally 2 days before he announced his, he did his first meeting in Longloop. And we decided, you know what? Okay, let's just jump behind him, okay? And that was really and truly my first time in interacting really with Shawande. I didn't know him. I don't know. He didn't grow up here. And I heard people saying he was down the Bay Plain Medal. That is so far from the truth. As I know, he grew up down McNamara, the other Wheatley side from all the way eastern. I don't know nothing about him down Fairfax Bay. Yes, his mom is from Fairfax Bay. We're related. His two older brothers, yes, I know them. And then I'll throw in that I have been away from the BVI for quite some time. And I've said that before. So I don't know him like that, but I've seen via whether online news and so forth, because I've always kept up with the BVI. I've seen where he was very much into the whole African thing. I think his doctorate is in African studies. That's where his doctorate is, African studies. He's very much into that. That's his name, I guess, Shawande. That's where he got that. So I've been giving all of that a lot of thought, and I've continued, and I might be wrong with what I'm going to say. And of course, people can send me information to say, no, this, look at this. I don't recall, or what I recall is that his advocacy has been around racism, colonialism, etc., like those types of topics. I can't recall, and maybe again I'm wrong, where his focus was really local issues per se. You know, like the bread and butter issues, where he came down on that, you know, his advocacy around those things. Again, I might be wrong, but I've been thinking it out. And I think his personal view And again, he was raised in the US, and I'll say the same thing for him. Like Ejuinka, even Julian Willard, Julian Fraser, like Claude Skelton Klein, these people that were exposed to that type of racism in the US, I think they've come here and they've tried to embed it in our society. Our society has never been more divided. And I'm not going to say that there aren't things going on. There are things going on that need to be attacked, but I've never seen our society more divided. And I blame specifically those guys for that, right? But I think what the premier, his personal experiences that he had, whether in the US or whatever, he has brought here. And I think that drives what he wants to do for the BVI, because he doesn't care what we want. It drives what he wants in terms of a more Africanized nation, more of, oneness with the Caribbean. I don't have a problem with the oneness. We just have to figure out how we want to do that. But I think that is driving him to independence, whether the BVI is ready for it or not. I think that drives him. His focus isn't outside of, I hate to, say, his partying but there's no real thing that you can pull out that he's focused on in terms of improving this territory. It's economy. He talks a lot of bullshit, right? Because again, like I said yesterday, if a cruise ship comes in here with 3,000 people and only 1,000 come off, and you damn well know it's only 1,000 people coming off, and the whole territory isn't benefiting from that, but you say, oh, we have the highest numbers with 3,000, it's 3,000, and you count in the 3,000 as opposed to saying, okay, I'm getting 3,000 people in here, I'm gonna spend the numbers to my favor, because that's what's happening, right? That's what's happening. The cruisers aren't coming off the boats. So you still hear the taxi men complaining. You still hear the businesses that actually should benefit from cruise tourism. You hear them complaining, right? Because 3,000, 4,000 come off on the boat. Ask the premier to tell us actually how many have come off the boat. And the other entities like the port, the Pier Park, even the minister for the subject, he isn't going to preempt the premier and say it because they'll all be fired. Okay, so we need to ask the premier to give us the accurate numbers, in terms of tourism, because he keeps talking about, oh, the economy is booming and everywhere you turn, people are calling you for help. That don't make no sense to me. Or maybe it is that we are flooding too many people in here, down to receptionist jobs where your people can't even get a job. And I'm going to get to that on the labor because yeah. Okay, so I think that his aspirations and his fight, he's using the BVI to fill that void or that experience and we are not here for that. I don't know about y'all. I don't know about y'all, but I don't want the BVI's destiny to be determined by that. We need to decide who we are, what we want to be, where we want our the future of the BVI to be in terms of economics and all of that, and then make a decision. Not decide, I'm coming from under the UK because I don't want to be under the white man, and I want to be oneness with the Caribbean, and this and that and that. And I'm not saying that, again, that the oneness with the Caribbean can walk out however we want it to walk out based on negotiations. But the focus where he's coming from, it's not about us, it's about him and an internal fight that he has with himself. It's an internal fight that he has with himself, and that he's going to use us to satisfy that pain that's going on with him. And I'm not diminishing his pain because, experiencing any of that is just not, good. Right? But I feel like that is what is going on with him. That's why his focus is so much, in that direction. He doesn't have one plan to build the economy. He continues to use government's money in horrible ways. No accountability. He can't tell you what come out. He spent $1 million over here. He can tell you how it went. He come back and he say, oh, it was very successful. How did you determine that? How did you determine that? Right? So we keep going through these things. And so, you know, in my mind, I was trying to figure out what drives him? Where is his focus? Why the focus is there? And so when I just had to sit down and try to analyze for myself, because building this country is not it for him. Like, he's not doing that in any way, shape, or form. And if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Show me from where the premier, outside of where he'll say that he saved us from the UK with the COI, and he did not. Yes, he was the premier, and so he's in the front, so you could say it was done under him. But if it was left to him, okay, like, let's be real. Okay, but okay, he wants his praise, give him his praise. But there is nothing that none of us can sit down and say from 2022, April 2022, when he took the helm, to now, I'm gonna just in December 31st, 2025. That we can point out, and again, if I'm wrong, put it in the conversation down here. You can comment it, you can WhatsApp me. Those who have my number, my 440-3234, that's my WhatsApp number as well. You can WhatsApp me there. Give me your thoughts. If you guys can point out something that he has literally done. I mean, Pico Marv came on the other day, and there was a lot of patching around the BVI. And the 7th district had literally nothing. Now I'll say I drove through the back road of Longlook. I think that's Nottingham Estate, and they're fixing the road behind there very nicely. Okay, but nothing that you can touch on in his district. And yesterday somebody asked me, you know, Cindy, why you think that he treats our district like that? You know what I told them? I said, I don't think he likes us. I don't think Kedrick liked us either. That's how I feel. Because you cannot say that you love our people, going for people. These people are believing in you, voting for you, and you get their vote. You use them as a stepping stone, and you don't look back. So I said to the person, I don't think he likes us. He grew up McNamara. He grew up in the US. He relates to the Wheatley people in East End. And I mean, you can latch on to who you want to as your family, whoever makes you feel good and make you feel like you have a legacy, but the other part of you doesn't go away. You could dance around it however you want, right? But I said to them, I don't think that he likes us. We have given him that opportunity to fulfill a legacy, which I told you our last election not to vote for him because he wasn't interested in doing anything for the district. He's proven that to you guys already. I said he just wants to build a legacy that he is a premier. He's following in his grandfather's footsteps. Willa Willie, who was another total nuisance, had done nothing for the BVI. They'll say he took us out of granted, but that was going to happen whether he was the premier or chief minister or not. So he's building family legacy on y'all head. And I keep telling y'all this, like, there is nothing really that we can point out that he has done, not for the 7th district, nor for the BVI. He has a fight for he said, get us out of colonialism and bring us into his form of colonialism, because that is what it is, right? I told y'all I'm going to look up really and truly what these words mean and these behaviors mean. They do not have a color. These behaviors don't come with a color, because Africans have been colonializing their people in their tribal warfare for decades, centuries. All right, so we ain't gonna have that conversation. Y'all want to be black and white? Be black and white. I don't look at life in a real way. Okay, his drive is that the white man, although he know what he gets, and then they're the enemy. But yes, okay, and he's pulling us into that fight, building us economically, building up the BVI. None of that is happening. None of that is happening. None of that is happening. You guys don't see that? Am I the only person that's seeing that? I honestly don't believe so. This man's focus is Black empowerment. I'm going to say it like that. Black empowerment. Outside of that, it's a party. Think about it. Think about it. I'm not here to insult him or anything. I have to think about the BVI, the future of the BVI, and the future of the BVI means the future of my children. And if you guys aren't thinking like that, then something is wrong with your mindset and how you're processing your life and how you're going to build a future. All right? Okay, see? Here's another, okay, I'm gonna read this, I'm gonna read this because I think some of you don't get it. So this person says, right, Cindy, it looked like you want to be dictated to by the white man. I'm gonna read it. Look what the white man did to Jackie. Well, you could stay there, not me. Wonderful, great comment. Based on all that I've said, right? Where did I say that I would be like to dictated to by the white man? I've said that the focus of the premiere is Black empowerment, or a focus on this is what I've experienced with racism in this portion of the world, because I know he hasn't experienced it here. His fight has always been Africania, is that how you say it? And so forth and so forth. And he's using that, whatever his experience and feelings and that he has experienced with that, he's putting that on us as a people. We don't know where the BVI is going to end up, but his thought process of further self-determination and independence for us does not come from a place that is best for the BVI in terms of where we want to be financially, economically, culturally. He's not thinking about any of that. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter whether we're under a Black man or a white man. His focus is not where we are going economically or any of that building of this territory. It's just that I'm not going to sit under this white guy because of how they treated me in the US. That's what I'm saying. Okay, and what did they do to Jackie? That you, commenter, hasn't sat back and allowed, the premier to do to me, Cindy. They've done the same thing to me. They've done the same thing to a lot of people in the civil service. They've done a lot of same things to people in businesses here, people who stood up to them, independent, private people. So what are you talking about? I'm telling you, these things don't have a color. It's a mindset and a heart that does these things to people. So you think it's bad because the white man didn't want to promote Jackie because he felt he didn't want to work with her, and the premier is doing the same thing because he doesn't want me sitting in tourism because he and I don't see eye to eye, or I'm gonna ask a question that others aren't gonna ask. It's the same goddamn thing. And that's why a lot of people didn't come out to protest, because they're saying, yes, I'm a Jackie, but I'm a Jackie under my own people. And you guys, inside of your mind, that in itself is oppression. Oppression is oppression. Oppression doesn't have a color. Oppression doesn't have a color. And I keep telling you guys, my people oppressing me hurts me more than an outsider, or if you want to call it a white person, oppressing me. Do you guys not understand that logic? Do you understand that's why we're stuck? We're looking at our problems the wrong way. Anyway, I want to get to some more things. I have 1 hour, so I'm going to stick to that too much, but I believe everybody understands exactly what I'm saying with this thing. Okay? The BVI or Premier is focused on taking us into uncharted waters that we're not prepared to be in, and he's doing that based on his own personal beliefs, experiences, and feelings. He's not thinking about the BVI. He's thinking about him. And that's all I'm saying. And we need to zoom into that before we end up in these waters where we can't help ourselves. I keep telling y'all heard dancing around and dancing around. The Premier is an American, He don't have to stay here with you, And he don't know he clock in. And he know exactly what I mean by that. He clock in. So when he get up and he go, where you going, say, Roger? Where you going? Where you going, Roger? When you hear on a sinking ship with no alternative. Huh? He jumping, he gone back straight to the same US he telling you what's bad to him. With all the opportunities that he's gonna have, with all the kalash that he going out of here with. Where are you going to be, Roger? Those are the questions and the things that you guys need to think about, because I put up on my page yesterday and people are antsy. They're probably saying, oh, Cindy, always saying some shit, but my shit always comes to pass. And I'm telling you all, if you don't stop hardening your heart and stop thinking about crap that has no value, all right, this place is going to end up in a very bad place, and we're going to be very deserving of it. That's why when I say on the whole OECS, the CARICOM, the UK, the Premier, his black and white issue and Africana issues, I don't have a problem with Africa. I have no problem with any of these things. What I have a problem with is the BVI, where we're going, and how we get in there. All right? And that the people are part of the conversation and involved in making these decisions, and not just some rogue individual entity feeling that he can do it by himself, although we elected an entire House of Assembly, other representatives, and they are such enablers. His government are such enablers. And Kai, I'm gonna call you up because I feel like you're the biggest enabler for the Premier. You never stand up to him. You let him do all sorts of shit. You never stand up to him. You're his biggest enabler, and you're gonna have to change that for people to look at you differently. Yes, your district can re-elect you, but you should want to be a more prominent part of Virgin Islands political history. And how you're doing it is not it, and you know it too. You know it, but we'll get to that conversation another day. Kai's my boy, I love him to death, but everybody got to get dragged up leading to election because we need something different. And I'm going to expose a lot of things. Bank of Asia. And I'm not really harping on Bank of Asia. I'm bringing on Bank of Asia for a particular reason. All right? I'm going to check my WhatsApp. Give me a minute. All right, somebody said, let me go up a little bit. I want this to be interactive, like I said, so I'm going to be taking comments. By Monday, I hope we can take calls better. That's why I'm not calling Jujag, because we want to work on that. So it's clear. All right, so there was a comment here. All right, Roger Williams says, and I read this because I really want to answer it. Cindy, don't say that about Teacher Willard. He must be given credit for not squandering the public purse. There's a difference, Roger, in squandering and actually using the public purse to benefit the territory. Not spending means that you're cheap. And I'll tell you what, the Willards, the Davies, they don't spend money, they don't make decisions. They are the most, I don't know what to call them, love unto death. I don't have a problem with them, but I'm just telling you their characteristics. They don't spend money. When you don't spend money, you have to find a balance, Roger. If you don't spend money, the country can sink. So you're saving money to do what, and your people over here can't survive. Nothing ain't going on in the territory. What are you saving the money to do? To say you have the money? You need to find a balance. You need to know what you're saving, what you're spending, and what you're bringing in. The hell are you talking about? He didn't squander. He didn't spend no money at all. Tell the country was sinking. Go get your history. I right here for you. Because they were ready with broomstick and stick to go for he. So go bring your history. I right here with now. I know you like history. Go look for it and then come back and talk to me. Another commenter said, it is like a pet peeve. Yes, it is. That's how I look at it. Like, that's why I went and I sat down and I was like, what is driving this? Because it just doesn't make any sense. And no matter what you say, he's focused. It doesn't matter when you say, oh, but you haven't talked to the people. Like, what is your plan? You say you're going to the UK. You're talking to the UK about further self-determination. Like, what are you talking to them about? Like, what is it that you've gone up there? Like, what is the directive that your people have given you? Oh, I haven't even talked to my people, spoken to my people, right? So it's like his pet peeve. It's a pet peeve, and it has nothing to do with the people. It's something that he experienced, that he's bubbled down with, and people go through that all the time. Okay, but as a leader, you have to set your personal and your things aside and look at the big picture. I'll never forget when, and I think Kai meant it in terms of the COI, but I'll never let him live it down, Honorable Kai, when he compared the premier to Moses. Oh my God. Anyway, let's keep going. Let me finish with this comment. I don't want to go backwards. You are right in your analysis, and there's too much focus on ancient slavery history rather than how you empower your people today. It is petty. And I absolutely agree with that commenter. I absolutely agree. We cannot move forward, and we're just thinking about this thing. And I feel like the person said, it's a pet peeve. It has nothing to do with us. And then we get up and we say, oh, the BVI has this amount of nationalities. Da, 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 da. We say one thing, do another thing. So it's just confusing, but we need to focus in on where the premier is. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. Y'all like to make things very simple, like, oh, she don't like him. Oh, she like him, but he don't like her. It ain't none of that. All right? I want to go on to, like I said, the Bank of Asia. And like I said, I'm not going to go deeply into the Bank of Asia fiasco. Guavaberry has released quite a few articles on it. We all know what went on with the Bank of Asia. I'm trying to stay abreast. I put out an article the other week, but I want to say I'm leading somewhere. So bear with me. All right. Some crap went on with the Bank of Asia. I wrote about it. Another day, if y'all want me to break it all down again, I can do that. It's not going to be today. Okay. The Minister for Financial Services, Lorna Smith, is wrapped up in that fiasco. Okay, the courts say so. I didn't say so. The courts say so. I didn't say so. All the information has been put out there. When this whole thing blew, the premier said that he was going to do an internal audit. That it was in relation to all $10 million, 5 and 5, $10 million that moved from out of our treasury into the Bank of Asia while it was going bottom. Okay, he said an internal audit, which shouldn't even happen because he's going to come out and say what he wants, and he's going to give us a report, or he's going to tell them to report how he said to report because he's over that. I don't know how the hell you could investigate yourself. Either which way, he was going to do an internal audit. And every single press conference I went to, except the last one, because it slipped my mind, it was on my list, but it slipped my mind to ask about the internal audit on the Bank of Asia. He keeps saying it was completed, it was handed over to him. He's up to now. You know the old people used to do this? It means, can't see a thing, you see, just talk. Up to now, we can't see this internal audit. However, in their last conversations, their last little debates in the House of Assembly before Christmas, how did I get in there and say all kind of thing? They make themselves look good, feel good, then say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and they're gone, right? In his little conversation and debate, it was so important for him to say, they tried to bring down, Honorable Smith with the Bank of Asia, and they didn't succeed. Now, this is the leader of the territory where this thing has gone all really wrong. He has not brought the internal audit. He hasn't said anything. We're still waiting on the governor. The governor said he asked the Auditor General, is that what it is, to do an investigation. We hear nothing else, but he is out there spinning this thing to say who tried to bring on Lorna and it didn't work. This is the type of leader we're talking about, and he's talking about taking us into further self-determination and independence and these things, right? This is the conversation, right? that he's having. Now, I'm telling y'all, I want to do things a little different for 2026 and leading into election because I'm tired of the type of voting y'all are be voting. Okay? And yes, we're going to make mistakes. And once we acknowledge those mistakes and move to rectify those mistakes, it's good. Good. He's trying to spin this thing and make her look good, and she doesn't look good. She doesn't look good. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, she doesn't look good. I just have a lot of conversation. Y'all don't watch me. I could talk to the man on the street. I could sit on the block, and I'm going to go sit on, and I could talk to the governor. I could sit on and talk to anybody in any industry at any level in this territory, and I do very easily. Okay, because I wasn't dragged up. As much as y'all would love, some of y'all little haters would like to say, oh, she's together. You need to go and find out who I am. Okay, go find out about me. Don't let your little heart and what you feel inside determine for you who you think I am. Moving along. So he's trying to reframe what happened, the fiasco with that bank, the questions that remain open about your money. He's trying to reframe the conversation to make her look good, but he has to because he knows why. He knows why he has to make her look good. Let's move along. So I just wanted to bring that up for one reason. So she has all of this air around her, and okay, she remains the junior minister for financial services. What else she have? Labor. What else? What else? Whatever else she has under the premier. All right. In the news, a couple of weeks ago, it said that, can one of my lawyer friends please call me and tell me come off the air? If y'all tell me come off the air, I can come off the air right now, right now. Somebody message me. Let me check my WhatsApp. Ooh, we're about to get Cindy-ish. Somebody message me now. All right, we ain't gonna message. In the beginning of January, right? We don't take things so lightly around here. In the beginning of January, the premier said that he was handing over prospect to his junior minister, Honorable Lorna Smith. That had make sense to you? Y'all calculate anything around that? Like, did that make any kind of sense? No, the premier can hand over any project he wants to any one of his ministers, but that had make sense to you? Which warrant? Who signed which warrant? Which warrant? Anyway, he signed over, and let me just bring up a little thing before I get there. Mark Vanterpool, he's very calm, cool, and I think he's a calculated cat. You don't really hear him say anything. He's very quiet. He ain't get into the squalor. I found it very interesting. I think it was in December. I think might have been Claude Skelton's last show. Claude Skelton, he kind of said that he heard that, Mark was bringing a party, a whole party. And we've heard that out there. There's a conversation going around that he wants to be the next premier and he's bringing a whole party, Let everybody aspire. I think people should aspire. We have to use our head as to what we want and where we want to see the BBI. Everybody can aspire to leadership, to sit in the House of Assembly. We decide based on our votes who will get there, okay? And then Claude went on to say that he also understands that, or he thinks that if that happens, that the Honorable Lorna Smith will join her brother's party. That's not a bad thing to say. He just making things make sense in his head. We all do that. Because Mark and Lorna tight. And if my brother party go bring a party and it was making sense, I might have joined it. Or if I had ulterior motives to, make things look a little right to the public, I probably wouldn't join it on the campaign trail. But when we hit the House of Assembly and he got in, I was going to join him. All right? Y'all pay attention to what's going to go down in this territory. I'm going to break down everything for you but pay attention because the ducks will be lining up and y'all will be off the Mac. All right. Mac jump on. I was so surprised. People call me like, you heard Mac, you heard Mac. I heard Mac where? Mac was on ZBVI. He was rebutting something that that Claude said. I was like, Mark was on ZBVI. Okay, interesting. Well, if Claude said something, because Claude had said a lot of stuff and I hadn't listened to Claude, I didn't hear Mac, I didn't hear nothing until after. And so Claude has said things. If somebody want to jump on quick and say no, because Mark now he's going to run. You can tell you're seeing him everywhere. He's active on Facebook again. So he's going to defend his name in certain things. He's going to do that. That's normal and natural. It's called PR. All right? Public relations. Understand it. So he jumps on there and he clears the air. But he only cleared the air to say that no, Lorna Smith wasn't running with his party. But he didn't say that he wasn't running, or he didn't say that he wasn't bringing a party. Anyway, also in December, Mark relaunched his real estate company. And I think he's partnering with a German company now. I believe it's a German company. I say like Claude, I'm getting somewhere, I believe. I believe I'm getting somewhere. Because I tried to crunch in my head some things that ain't making no sense. So after she being his deputy premier, and actually, she has worked with the NDP. She'll say that, she never tell her husband what to do, and she was never involved. Well, that is a lie. And if she feels like those are the bold-faced lies that she wants to tell, okay. So, she knows what's going on with Prospect for some time now. So if you thought that she would have been good for that, you should have given it to her from the very beginning, because then she could have probably by that time finalized a deal for us, right? But why is it that you know what's going on? Bank of Asia ain't look good. It's not sorted. You singing her praises, right? Turn around, you give her Prospect. I find all of those things lining up so strange. So strange. Mark is going to run for politics. He very might well be our next premier. It's a big possibility. Nobody knows what's coming, right? He's a hotelier now. She gets Prospect. He's a hotelier. He has a whole real estate company that he just revamped. None of that ain't lining up. It kind of lining up for me in my head, because none of this stuff ain't making no sense. It making sense to you? All in a sudden, it's handed to her. That special project. After he's been telling us he's this way, he put a board together, he coming soon, he has proposed, all of a sudden, it's out of his hands and it's in her hands. I find it very strange. And I find all the things lining up around it very strange. That's just me. What do y'all think? I'm giving y'all food for thought. That's it. I'm giving y'all food for thought. And I can talk about all of this because all of this affects the BVI people and BVI government. She's in government. Her brother was in government. He's vying for government again. And I ain't got no problem with Mac. Mac is somebody I like, but I'm gonna talk. What I think, I'm gonna break things down because we're on a road to the next election. And for some time now, we've been saying, oh, this election is, the one. 2027 is the one. And when y'all get that wrong, that's the one. Remember, tell you so. Remember, tell you so. Okay? Watch everything that comes in place. Watch how it's forming up and watch how everything goes. Remember, Cindy, tell you so. Y'all say all kind of thing about me, but I know a lot of you in the back of your head when you're getting shit, going over the hill, Cindy gonna be the last voice you're hearing. Labor. I ain't gonna get too deep in labor because I'm researching some things and I'm gonna say something right now. Roger said, is this the potential for insider trading? Roger, our governments have been insider trading for years now. Yes. How you think them rich and you poor? You can imagine sending somebody in the house and they're making $40,000 a year, yet them is millionaire. Like y'all head don't work. And while I'm here, I'm gonna say this, right? We had that whole blow up with their salaries going up. And I tell people while it's something that we should talk about. The biggest part of that bothers me is how they did it, and I've said that before. But y'all are getting to worry about the wrong. Do you think I'd be worrying about their salaries? I'm worried about their access to government purse and their access to investment coming into this country. The gatekeepers that you gotta give money before you could even talk to them. The BVI needs real investigating, and the government of the Virgin Islands needs a forensic audit. All right, you kill me. Moving on. Labor. They got a lot of things ahead going on up in the North Zone. Yeah. I have a lot of things going on up in the North Zone, all around the North Zone. Y'all could come for me if you want. But I'm lining up my ducks in a row, and I'm gonna spill some shit out into the public space. All right, cool. I'm trying to understand specifically, I don't know why I know about that already, but I'm trying to understand specifically who, in terms of labor, who are we building this territory for? And it's been a concern of mine from the time I've come home. I've talked about it because you walk into an office, even receptionists at the front desk on a work permit. Y'all know that, right? I know I ain't the only person know that. Your receptionist. Now, I thought that there were jobs that work permits didn't happen for. And as far as I understood, receptionist was one of them. You have secretarial jobs. All of these jobs on work permits. You have so many jobs in this territory that locals could do, and we keep saying, oh, locals don't want to work. Bullshit. There are locals that are very entitled. They feel that they ain't gonna start at the bottom, they want to be on the top, they gonna call in sick. We have a few of those. But nobody is going to generalize and say that is the Virgin Islander, because it's nonsense. Plain and simple. And for you Virgin Islanders who are doing that, you need to get your shit together, because nobody out here could fight for you if you don't want to do what you're supposed to do. Right? Cool. All of these places you go into, and I mean, there's some places you can't even find a Virgin Islander. Can I just be frank? So I'm trying to understand what's going on over at Labor. I understand the guy that I thought, would have done exceptionally well is turning out very questionable, and I'm doing my research because tell y'all, you need to do what you need to do for the people, or else you and I ain't lining up at all. If you're doing shit, we ain't lining up at all. So I'm trying to understand what's going on over at Labor. Maybe the head of Labor, what's his name, Marvin, can give me a call later. Because the things coming into my ears they ain't making no kind of sense. They're not making any sense. Are we building a Virgin Islands for other people to benefit, while all people just fall back and have nothing? The Premier, they don't want to tell you guys, but there's a major exodus by Virgin Islanders from this territory. There's a major exodus. People come in here to work, they meet Virgin Islanders and work, and they fight them out of it. They're so vindictive, calculating. I know what's going on. And I ain't here to argue with nobody. I'm just telling you that I know what's going on in a lot of companies around the BVI, a lot. And there is nobody willing to protect us. They're just there for whatever they can get, whether it's sitting around these people's tables, having dinner with them, having them at their parties. These people make you feel like you're somebody. Your parents didn't bring you up better than teacher. I know Virgin Islanders are very different to that, so I'm confused as to this mindset. Virgin Islanders are very popular. I don't need to sit down at your table to feel like somebody. I am the whole table. That's the mindset of the Virgin Islands. So I don't know where this lack of pride coming from. The fact that anybody can question who you are. You need to sit down at somebody's table. You need to have dinner with them. You need to be in their circle while selling out your own people. You want to tell me about white is colonialist and oppression? What the fuck is wrong with us? Like, what is wrong with us? Right? What is going on up in labor? And again, I'm gonna say I don't have a problem with any nationality. I don't have a problem with anybody coming in here to work, but those need to be jobs that are not available and locals cannot do. And while they can't do them and you bring somebody else in here to do them, you better be training the person that's a local to take over. Not even that y'all want to do, not even that labor is forcing you to do. They get enough of whatever they need to get under the table and you get your work permit. I know what's going on. And I have names. I have dollar figures too. And I got some other receipts. This is not right. A major exodus of Virgin Islanders out of here. What booming are we booming? Booming to where? Booming to where? You know what that makes us? That makes us the a-holes of the Caribbean, of the world probably. Let me say the world, because it's not only Caribbean people in here working, of the world. And even they're getting treated the way we getting treated now, because they see all of us as you know how that makes the BVI? And let me tell you another thing. I talk about the property market. We got some real estate companies in here that refuse to sell to locals. But we know this already though, right? Me telling y'all nothing new. There's nothing new here that I'm saying. They won't even sell to locals. Some are locally owned real estate companies. Whatever is going on with the banks, you're landing on a value when it's you, the Virgin Islander, own it. But if somebody else buy it, they got a lot of value for the bank. What is 13 people that we elected, what are in there doing for us? Besides sitting down at these people's table, going to their parties, enriching themselves. Tell y'all what I posted last night, exactly what we're supposed to get and what we're going to go through. We're going to get it and we're going to go through it because y'all harden, you don't listen. When you find things out, get rid of it. And the labor needs a revamp from the head. Needs to come out. Gotta go. I don't care who liked me, who stopped talking to me. I don't care. Okay? Because my children deserve a future here. My 4 parents worked their ass off. Okay? My children are 10 generations of Virgin Islanders, and they're gonna survive here if that's where they want to be. If they want to make it an option, it should be an option. Not that they have to leave to survive. And everybody else could survive here. Eh? Everybody else got survive here, coming here, they're making a salary, they're buying house here, they're building house back where they come from, and the Virgin Island can't even develop the little piece of land their family left for them. Y'all don't see something wrong with that? A whole system working against you, facilitated by the people that you go to the polls and elect. I'm serious. Y'all need to get serious because that's what's going on. Facilitated by the people we continue to go to the polls to elect. And the other people can't get their land. If you have a title for your land, why you can't, what's the problem? Is the land available or is not available? Where's the land? Who hold the title and the deed for the land? Is it a fairy tale that these things are approved by the cabinet and that they're sitting there but they can't be released? Why they can't be released? I'm telling y'all, get ass up and understand what's going on in this territory and fight for this place. If this is what you want, this is where you want to be, and you're feeling X'd out, disenfranchised, because that is what it is. And I'm going to tell you again, I used to say 10 years, but it ain't 10 years. Within 5 years, the face, and when I say the face, I mean the face, the physical face of what we look like, of what the BVI is, culturally, heritage, everything is going to change because your elected reps don't care to make legislation and enforce legislation that works for you. Company owners call them, boom. They only need to get what they need to get, boom, they get what they need to get. I'm not making this shit up. All of y'all know it's happening. And you're quiet about it, and the Virgin Islander is being extolled. That's my labor conversation this morning. And those in charge at labor should be ashamed of themselves. Ashamed. And it's only so long you can put on a front. And who you are always comes out. That's why you can't blame people, when, you go to the polls and you may have voted for someone and they do the flip-flop and change it, That's who they are, and then we get to see who they are. But then you don't continue supporting that person. You let that person know, I no longer support you because you said you stood for this. I wait to see, and this is why you stand for instead, and we don't align. So no, I don't support you. Nothing is wrong with saying that. Okay? The Virgin Islander in this territory, belongers, y'all are in trouble. I'm telling y'all, you're in trouble. And y'all dancing around every time about this one is the problem, that one is the problem. At least my run barn here. I'm going to chuckle. Moving along. That's all I can say. At least my run barn here. I heard somebody say something to me yesterday. They say he have a conscience. They said at least he has a conscience. Understand what that means in leadership. When we put people in positions. The same UK he does be cussing his taking in his Virgin Islanders that he pushing out of jobs. Go ask him. He ain't gonna tell you, but I'm gonna tell you. It's an exodus out of here to the UK because they could survive up there. Imagine that. Imagine your forefathers worked so hard, they pass on all this stuff to you, they build, work, and then we start electing these people that just have no conscience, driven by money and greed. Think about it. Think about it. Talk about elections. That's a fun topic. Let's talk about elections. Matter of fact, let me take a 30-second. I'm gonna take a 30-second break to rest my throat, and we can come back and we can talk about elections. I'm gonna try to go through whatever comments coming in wherever, and we'll be right back. Okay, like a 30-second break. I love I love when my camera guy fall asleep. I'm gonna call him. I think he's definitely taking a little nap. So I'm just gonna take it down through to the 11:30 hour. I won't take the break. It's fine. So let me just stay on and let me just wrap it up. I can drink my tea in front of you guys. It doesn't. It's fine. I don't think you guys mind. Let me just give you. I'm gonna highlight my sponsors, Caribbean Sellers. Thank you again for supporting this platform, CCTBVI, Premier Insurance Limited. But tomorrow I'm going to give you guys the actual deal that's going on over there. I'm going to grab it from them. Frozen imports. And while we're on frozen imports, let me give you the menu for today once more. And the restaurant upstairs of frozen imports is called Dee's Restaurant. And okay, we still call it frozen imports, right? Because we're so like, it's frozen imports, yeah. So frozen imports, their restaurant D's, their menu for today is chicken breast stir fry, spare ribs, barbecue spare ribs, and grilled kingfish. And I do find their prices affordable compared to a lot of other specials around, and they have stew beef, they have stew pig feet, their sides of white rice, carrot rice, stew peas, mashed potato, steamed vegetables. All right, so that's their menu for today. And again, they're gonna get into dinner, and I can't wait until they get into dinner. And while Bobby's dinner is delicious, I think we can definitely do with our own on that side of the island. So I'm looking forward to when they start their dinner specials. But their lunch specials literally run now from 11 o'clock until 5 o'clock. So that's not bad either. And then the pub down there at Fort Bird, their specials for today, they have chicken and lentil soup, and you can get a small or a large. They have coconut curry chicken, they have baked pork chops with mushroom sauce, and they have blackened salmon with mango salsa, and they have teriyaki conch rice bowl, and some of their sides are seasoned rice, scallop potatoes, sauteed vegetables, and eggplant parmesan. I think he kicked in the break, but I'm asking him to come back on. So I'm gonna keep going because my mic is on, and so you guys can still hear me. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Thank you, darling. That's Frost Media in the building. All right, so, and then the pub, every Friday they have pizza and wings Fridays, and they have a deal on pizza, wings, and I think a soda. I think it has Sprite and a Coke, or a Coke. I think, don't quote me, it might just be Coke, but maybe they can throw Sprite in there as well, because some of us don't drink Coke, we like Sprite. And then they have a happy hour on Fridays from 4 to 5 o'clock. All right, so check them out. And I thank them for continuing to support the GBM platform as well. All right, I'm gonna get on to my last bit for today, which is elections. I love election conversation. I think everybody does. It gets us excited in a way, but I want us to manage that excitement, because I think we get carried away in the excitement as opposed to really trying to understand what is coming forward and what it will mean for us once we put our X at the poll. So it's okay to get excited, but this election season, I really want us to gauge and manage our excitement in terms of, oh, this one coming forward, blah, 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 and this song and that song. And yes, we can get in on some of that, but we need to focus in on the issues, on the people, going through their characters, who they are, where they've been, and everything, so that we could try our best And you hear me say try our best, because we're never gonna get it fully right, but try our best to make the best decisions, the right decisions, as best we could. Okay. Oh my God. I have one cousin. She is going to bully me into my grave, but I ain't studying her. She said, she tell me, come off the air now. Good afternoon, honey. I love you so much. You'll be just fine. Go make sure I have some lunch when I come off the air, about telling me come off the air right now. All right, let's talk about election. Let's talk about elections while I pick up some of the comments from Facebook. Somebody says it is a demonic stronghold that needs to be broken. Is it? Sometimes I wonder if, like, I came in after and so it doesn't have a hold on me, but I've been here when they say some more pass and I ain't feeling nothing. I'm not saying it's not true, but I ain't feeling nothing. The labor management system is a waste of time, over 400 jobs and locals crying for work, and I quite agree. And again, you know, if there are locals that are portraying or practicing this thing where you go on a job, and I know there's some of you go on a job, you're not doing the work, you're slacking, you think you're entitled to do whatever you want, and then, you know, you get a paycheck. No, these are people's businesses. Businesses are to make money. They're not charitable causes. They don't have to pay you a paycheck and lose money. So you want a job, you need to be serious about wanting a job and sticking to the job and abiding by rules in business, and in jobs you have rules to abide by. Yes, and if you can't, then you resign and you go about your way and go do your own thing. But the business has its structure and you need to follow that. Okay? Somebody else, so is there not one politician caring enough to do right by the people in the BVI? Somebody said there's another topic I would like to hear discussed. OBE is illegal in the BVI. Well, I don't know what OBE is. And I doubt it's legal. I know about high science. I don't know about OBE. Anyway, let me take this other comment and then I'm going to get to election. When it comes to property, oh, my daughter is home today, so I might be able to go a little longer. When it comes to property ownership, it comes like they want to set up their own people, and especially the young people, for failure. Where is the help? Even with the first-time ownership, the banks, the insurance companies, Lord have mercy. The government is truly operating in a very questionable manner when it comes to their own people. Too much money is being circulated in this territory for us to be in this state, which is absolutely correct. How? I don't know. But I pray that even though things don't look good for us right now, that somehow things will turn around for the better for us all sooner than later. And that's all of our hopes. But a lot of us, we get sidetracked with simple things. We need to focus in on the platforms. Like, what is this person's platform? Look at their history. Look at their, all they've done in their life leading up to this point, how consistent they've been, their characters. It's all there. It's all there. We have to look deeper. We need to stop. You know, you can like people, but that should not matter when you get to the polls or when you're trying to make this type of decision. It shouldn't matter whether they smile at you, like you. You know, I don't want them to like me. I don't need that. I don't need them to invite me nowhere. I don't need any of that. If you're elected for a purpose, you follow through on that. You gave the people your word, follow through on that. Don't be keep taking us for jackass all the time as if we're stupid. And I need people to get more serious. There are a lot of us that are serious. And my fear, this conversation about not going to the polls, we don't need to be there at all. That mindset needs to be erased, eradicated. Not only am I going to say like that a lot of people have died to make sure that we have that right, but when you don't vote, what you think happens, the same thing that you don't want is exactly what's going to happen. So you saying you're not going to the polls, at least even if what you didn't get didn't happen, come on, you still have to exit. At least you tried. At least you tried. And we have to keep trying. We can't just give up, give in. A lot of times they try to frustrate you. You think whether we go to the polls or not, those of us who are not happy about leadership, if we don't go to the polls, who you think may be back in? The VIP there, people are going to vote for them. So, let's think about our decisions. We have to be erratic and say we ain't going to the polls. That's not something you want to think about. That's not something you want to say. And I don't know who's going to do it because I can't do it by myself. But there are a lot of young people in this territory, and I believe that they're the ones that will turn anything around. There are a lot of them, they're not registered to vote. Some of them who are even of voting age, they are registered to vote, they have never voted. Like there's a mass amount of them, and y'all need to get to work if you want to change the direction of anything in the BVI. And those are the ones that are actually suffering more than anything right now, and they're disheartened and they don't see the point of voting. And that needs to change. That needs to change. All right. So we're in an election season. Okay, we don't know when election is going to be, and I'm going to explain everything, but we're definitely in an election season. There are things happening around us that we can see that we definitely are, and more things are going to happen, right? Let's first clear up when elections may or may not be. I just want to make it very clear for people what we can actually expect. Okay, so I went through the Constitution this morning. I went through the election laws, etc., right? So our last election was on the 24th of April, I believe it was. And the first sitting, I believe, was on the 19th of May, okay, 2023. And I'm saying this for a reason. We talk about like early election, and we don't know what the premier is going to do, but I want to just outline when elections can be, and the latest that it could be, and when another House of Assembly must be in place, just so we could get a projection of what could happen. All right, so our last election was the 24th of April, and the first sitting was the 19th of May. Now, 4 years after the first sitting, the House of Assembly has to be dissolved. Okay? It has to be dissolved by the 4th anniversary of the first sitting. So that will take us to the 19th of May, 20th of May. All right? It has to be dissolved by then. It could be dissolved before, but it has to be dissolved by then. Okay? Because that was the first sitting. And after elections, and so the anniversary of the first sitting, 4 years anniversary, I'm trying to simplify it as best as possible. The House of Assembly must be dissolved. No more, no longer. Okay? What the Constitution doesn't say is that the Premier can dissolve the House at his will. Okay, so it only speaks to that the House of Assembly must be dissolved by the 4th anniversary of the first sitting. So 4 years on the date of the first sitting of the new government, new House of fifth, well, we're in the fifth one, I think, sitting, it has to be dissolved. Okay, that's the longest that it can go. It has to cut off by that point. We understand that? Okay. The Premier, however, can dissolve the House, and it doesn't speak to him having any particular reason to dissolve the House. So if the Premier wanted to dissolve the House tomorrow, he can do that. He has the power to do that. He dissolves the House, he takes it down to the governor agrees, and the governor announces that the House has been dissolved. The House dissolves, election must be called within 2 months. Within 2 months after dissolution. Okay, but election day cannot happen earlier than 21 days after the Premier announces the dissolution and a new election date. Does that make sense? Okay, so per the Constitution and election laws, the House of Assembly must be dissolved on the 4th anniversary, which is 4 years after its first sitting. The first sitting for the new government was the 19th of May 2023. They were elected on the 24th of April 2023, and their first sitting, not the election day, not when they were elected, when the House first sat, 4 years later, it has to be dissolved. All right, and once that's dissolved, the Premier liaises with the governor announces that the House is dissolved. The Premier then has 2 months to announce election, 2 months, and within that 2 months, election has to happen. He has 2 months to announce the election date, call election, and take people to the polls, and a new government sit. Okay, but once he gives a date, it has to be 21 days to campaign, basically. All right, so there we go. So we work with those details. So we have projections that the Constitution has given us in terms of the legalities of how the House of Assembly or how elections can be called, and the absolute last day that the House can sit. However, the Premier can dissolve the House whenever he wants to do that. So if the Premier wants to dissolve the House tomorrow, he wants to do it next week, he wants to do it in 3 months, he can do so. All right? All right, I want to talk about like what's lining up out here for election. What it's looking like, other conversations we're hearing. And so, before I do that, right, I wanted to talk about the flip-flopping, well, not flip-flopping, the crossing of the floor. And it's interesting, somebody sent me this information this morning, but I already had, all this election, conversation lined up to talk about. All of this crossing of the floor, I know it irritates us. I know I'm irritated by those movements. And so it seemed like the UK itself, their parliament is going through the same thing. And the people have become frustrated. And so now they have started a petition that if a member of the House, after they've been elected in a particular party or whatever, if they cross the floor, that they be kicked out of parliament and a by-election happens. I really like that idea. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments. So they've started a petition, the people have started a petition that you cross the floor, the people should, in your, they don't have districts, but in their constituencies, the people in their constituencies should be able to get rid of you because you crossed the floor without the permission of your people or your constituents, and we go back to the polls and have a by-election to choose somebody else that we would like to go into parliament or for here into the House of Assembly to continue on for us. If you think that's a good idea or whatever you feel the feedback is on that, let me know. I quite like that idea because when the people have put their confidence in you, you ought to stick to that. You have to stay truthful to the people. And if you can't do that, we should have the right to get rid of you and choose somebody else that we think will uphold what we want. Let me know how you guys feel about that. I actually quite liked that idea. So they have a petition going in the UK to change their legislations to remove a member of the parliament for crossing the floor and have a by-election to follow. All right. So how politics lining up? It's not crap, Roger. Roger says it's crap. It's not crap. I feel like if I trusted you and gave you my vote, and if your constituency is outraged enough and they want to make a change, they should be able to make a change, period. And actually, Roger, and I think, I don't even know if it ended up in the constitutional review report. I want to believe that it did not, and even if it did, I believe that those guys would have been removed, but giving us the option to change our reps and go back to the polls in a by-election if our reps are not performing satisfactorily for us. Why do we have to sit down with a rep for 4 years who isn't doing what we want them to do? You should be able to get rid of them. I quite agree with that petition, and I think we should start looking at stuff here like that. Anyway, how politics is lining up, right? So there's a lot of conversation on the ground. There's even a conversation about, there's a movement also going on, all 13 must go, and that seems to be making some traction. They got so emboldened, but I always make a joke and say whoever was putting up these these little flyers, they were emboldened, but a little scared and timid, emboldened that they put up one of the signs on the House of Assembly, but they put it up upside down. So it almost appeared like they were rushing and looking around to put it on there, and they didn't want to be caught, but they were bold enough to put one of those flyers of all 13 must go on the walls, and it's on the outside wall of the House of Assembly, which I found very funny. Anyway, how is politics lining up? So there's a lot of conversation about who's coming, who's not coming, who's switching from here, who's jumping there, the whole movement with Honorable Stacey Mather, the Alliance, Honorable Turnbull, possibly, whether in discussions with the NDP to become the opposition leader. I'm now hearing that, the 8th member of the 8th district, he's a no-go for that because he's been there and he wants it. So always a bit of a fight. You find these guys fight a lot, right? So there are a lot of moving parts, and this alone is excitement for us, and it's it creates conversation wherever you go. What do you think is going to happen? Who's stepping up? Who has this? Who has that? Whatever. Let's start with inside the House of Assembly. Let's break that down, because people seem to think like if elections was called today, the VIP would get back in. I don't know if I agree with that. And I'm going to tell you why. When you break down the 13 inside the House of Assembly, right? The VIP really and truly still only has 6 people, period. When you get into getting ready for election, there are 13 seats. So a full party to contest the election is 13 people. So what I'm basically saying is all of these parties and movements, it's up for grabs because you don't know what's going on. We don't know if the VIP has 13 people going into the next election. I don't think they do. We don't know if the Alliance does. We don't know if the NDP does. They say Mark is coming with his party. You don't know if he does. So what I'm saying is we just don't know. We just know the 13 people that make up the House of Assembly right now. We know there's the NDP, there's the Alliance. We know there's Fraser who's on his own. We don't know where Lana sits. We don't know where Stacey sits now. He hasn't said that he's not with the Alliance anymore. He just went over to the other side. We're just going to assume that he's not with the Alliance and he's probably now independent. Right, so just the House itself, I'm going to say it's chaotic, period, across the floor. It's chaotic. So the VIP has 6 people. And then sitting with them, there's also Lorna, there's also Fraser, and there's also Stacy. So they're able to make up the majority in the House. So they're the government, and it's 9 of them. But if you pull out and say the VIP has 6 people. The others are independent people or from other parties that have joined with them, thereby creating a coalition government. Whether we want to hear it or not, it's a coalition government. Because the VIP only has 6 people inside the House of Assembly. All right, then, so that's the VIP. The VIP has 6 people. Again, we don't know how much Mark has, if he's actually bringing a party. That's how we're understanding. We don't know how much the Alliance have. You have the NDP, and we really don't know what's going on there. And I guess until a switch is made in any way, you'll say the Alliance has 2 people, which is Mitch and Myron, and you'll say the NDP has 2 people, which is Ronnie and Nala. So I just want to make a little bit of trouble, right? So if we have to, let's look at the 7th district race, for example, right? So House of Assembly is dissolved and everybody's getting themselves back together. You don't know. We honestly don't know all who's coming forward. So we don't know who's going to end up where and how the negotiating will start to unfold. But let's take the 7th district race, for example, right? You have the Honorable Premier, who is the district rep now. And then you have about 1, 2, 3, 4. I've heard about 4 more people lining up to run in the 7th district, plus him. So that makes 5 people, right? Automatically, we would think that, oh, if it's a race of 5, that the Premier automatically will get back his seat. I disagree. It depends on who is coming forward, okay? But I think the 7th district is so disgruntled with Shawanda at this point, he has an uphill battle. So you have what seems to be a 5 people race in the 7th district. I would strongly go against that happening. Like, that does not need to happen. And I guess whoever is in the 7th district, we're gonna have to figure out how to quell everything. But that is what, based on what's coming out, it's seeming like it could be a 5-man race. So say you got that race and say Shawanda was unsuccessful. He doesn't make it to the House of Assembly after leading his party. You don't know who else makes it to the House of Assembly out of his party. But if I really could see Mark making it into the House, if he went and he ran in the 4th district, if he ran at large, it's not going to happen, period. District 6 is definitely going to make it back in. I'm gonna put a question mark next to Skelton because I honestly don't think that he'll make it in. I think Honorable Penn has a strong possibility of making it in. I think, you know, I'm hearing things in the 2nd district. So I think Mitch might. I think his next move is critical. However that works out, his next move will be critical to whether he makes it back into the House of Assembly or not. But in terms of, and of course, I think that's correct. I heard it's 4 women. No, I think there's another male as well. So I think it's 3 women and a male going up against the Premier, as I'm understanding who's coming forward. Anyway, Honorable Kai, I think, you know, I think he's going to make it back in. So anyway, what I'm trying to say here is that if the Premier Wheatley doesn't make it back into the House of Assembly, I think that it is going to be chaos. And can I say who I think, based on what, who I see coming forward, just in these preliminaries, in terms of leaders who will bring their parties forward, who may or may not make it in. And then you'll have, some new people. Some of these people are not going to make it back into the House of Assembly. That's in the House of Assembly not right now. They're not going to make it back in. Depending on who comes forward to run for the next House of Assembly, I see the next Premier and Deputy Premier as Mark and Myron. I know y'all didn't expect to hear that, but that's what I see. That's what I see. And we have a continued fight against, who's from here and who isn't here from here and all of these things. But from where I sit in terms of preliminaries that will pop up if the Premier is eliminated. You know why I'm saying if the Premier is eliminated? Because I think he's slick. I do think the Premier is slick. He's slick, and I think he has a slick mouth, and he could get what he wants for his. He could bring them together how he wants. I think if he's eliminated, and honestly, I think if he isn't eliminated, depending on how many people he gets into the House in his party, which I don't think is going to be a lot, so it makes his negotiating harder. I still see this happening at the top, the two ends. I see it happening. I see it. I see them at the top of leadership in the 6th House of Assembly. That's just my position on the preliminaries right now. So we have to see who comes forward, the kind of campaigning that will happen, what the people actually would have learned in the past. I'm going to say 6 years, this past 6 years, plus by the time we get to election, which will be, it'll be 6 years. It'll be 8 years. What you would have learned from the VIP being elected in 2019 to when election is called next, what you would have learned, what would have become important to you in terms of looking for characteristics in leadership and so forth. And I think that will determine the outcome. But if I have to sit here today and look at the makeup of all who is planning to come, that is coming as of today, all right, in that race that can happen in the 7th district that could eliminate the Premier, because I believe he's going to be eliminated this go round, period. He's going to be eliminated this go round. But again, even if he's not eliminated, his team is not going to make it into the House with him. And so he may not have the space that he thinks he has for negotiating, and he can negotiate with Myron and Mac, I'm telling you. So I ain't gonna call the other two names. They can't pull nothing together. And I honestly don't think Honorable Skelton is gonna make it back into the House. I don't think so. These are just my opinions and preliminary projections based on the climate right in this moment. All right, so don't take my word for gold. I'm just breaking down what I see coming forward. All right, because if Mark does come forward in the 4th district, because I don't think he'd come at large, he's not going to win. If he does come forward in the 4th district, there's no way Luce is going to beat Mark. I might be wrong, but I don't see it. And then we don't know who else is going to come there. But I see that happening, that Mark, Myron, Premier, Deputy Premier seats wrapped up in the 6th House of Assembly. That's just my projections right now. Alrighty. I'm going to call this show to an end. I'm going to call this show to an end for today. I've got to go and get on my mommy duties and so forth. But thank you for tuning in. Tomorrow is my birthday. So I think I said we're going to talk about the freedom of information legislation tomorrow and some other things. And if questions come in later this evening, other information that we requested to get, we're going to talk about that tomorrow too. And then we're going to wrap the week up, our first successful week. I think by next Friday, I'll be able to do, the Friday shows that I've talked about, more casual, fun interviews, products. Anybody that wants to advertise their products. So, I'll take the next few days to organize that. But I thank you guys for tuning in with me today as we continue to build this brand new morning show, The Morning Facts. And I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in and have a great rest of the day.
Good morning, good morning. Rise and shine, nation. Grab your bush tea, Cindy Rosen in the building. Let's break it down. The morning facts with Cindy Rosen. How the country running, we break it down. Facts in the morning, no gimmicks, no spin. Educate, empower, let the day begin. Sunrise busting over hills and sea. Radio on, tune in frequency. From policy talk to community news. She asks the questions, bring real truth. No long talk, straight to the point. Facts so clean, they anoint. From the people voice to the leader's seat. She connect the dots, make sense of it. If you want knowledge, tune in early. If you want clarity, don't come late. The morning facts with Cindy Rosen. How the country running, we break it down. A chance undone in pound and two. Electrifying facts for me and you. Economy, health, education. Youth, them future, the whole foundation. Culture, law, accountability. She hold the line for transparency. Not just talk, context and insight. So you can reason and get it right. Morning boost for your mind and soul. Information is power. Take control. Grab your bush tea, clear your head. Start your day properly fed. Who got the facts? Who got the facts? Cindy. Who asks the hard questions? Who keep it real every morning? Cindy. Daily talk show. Daily talk show. Covering the issues. It drops an up higher. Electrifying. Powerful morning booze. The morning facts with Cindy Rosen. From sunrise talk to national plan. Facts in the morning so we understand. Strong mind, strong people, stronger land. The morning facts with Cindy Rosen. From sunrise talk to national plan. Facts in the morning so we understand. Strong mind, strong people, stronger land. Before you step out, before you decide, get the facts in the morning and walk with pride. The morning facts with Cindy Rosen. Good morning, good morning, good morning.